6. Man Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is loose. 80 knots, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
What is going on, good people? Welcome back to the channel. Wow, today is an exciting stream for a lot of you guys. I've been getting so many comments on this airplane and everybody requesting me to fly it, so much so as I even started getting donations like, hey, this is for the 350. So at that point, I can't avoid the airplane any longer. Guys, today is going to be a fun one. Thank you for joining me here a little bit early. I know I scheduled the stream for about 11 o'clock, but the wife and baby are out of the house right now, so I figured I'd capitalize on just a few minutes early here, getting this flight underway. I will tell you right off the bat, I am no A350 expert. I do think it's one of my favorite Airbus widebodies out there, though, in real life. I really do enjoy the 350. I think it's a beautiful looking airplane. I've been avoiding it on the sim just because I felt that it was incomplete and not worth the price point and all that. We'll talk about that all in cruise. We got a long flight. We're going down to Cancun, Mexico on this beautiful Friday. I hope you guys are ready to come along for the ride here. Good to see everybody. Max Rank, Aaron Hastings, Andre Henry, Electricity Machine. Good to see you guys. Team Vodka, Al, DFW. What is up, my friend? I was awakened by some serious thunder and lightning this morning, man, but it looks like it's all kind of moving out of the area. So hopefully the weather will hold out here and we won't have any lightning strikes on this Internet Tower. Blue Aviation, good to see you here. Milltown 24. Man, look at all these silver captains in the house. Everyone's becoming captains already. We got a couple of gold 4-stripers. Of course, we got some new members as well. Gotta love it. Love all the support, guys. Thank you so much for being members of the channel, sponsoring the channel. Huge shout out Jeremy Harvey as well for the music on this channel. I mean, I just, when I hear that song, it just gets me going, man. I can't wait. I wish I could play that song for boarding music in real life, you know, when we're boarding the airplane up and going to work. I know it's Friday for all you, but it's actually kind of Sunday for me. I'm going to work early morning tomorrow. So let's get the show on the road. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Beautiful 350 modeling here. I will say this. It is a beautiful external model, minus the wings. Look at that shot right there. We got the X Enviro rocking right now. I do have a problem with some of my overlays here with the ortho at the airport, so I'm going to compensate for that with the X Enviro, and I'm going to take a screenshot. Are you guys seeing this right here with the sun rising? We have 93 people watching, 52 likes. If you haven't liked the video already, you probably don't like me. That's fine. But let's go ahead and like this video for this shot right here. I mean, this is what dreams are made of. You got the sun coming up on the horizon, beautiful skies, and a wide-body Airbus A350 boarding up to go down to a Mexico vacation. So I hope you guys are ready. I'm going to ask for assistance on this, no lie. I am no means an expert on the airplane, like I already said. I've only done one flight in this airplane, and I've done one landing, and I was extremely overweight. So hopefully today will be a little bit better. ETA to push, so I know push first and let you guys in front. Christian, I couldn't even tell you, man. Let me struggle through this here on stream, and we're going to try to work it out. Now, into the cockpit we go. I am running the FTSIM sound pack because the default sounds were pretty much non-existent and actually made me very depressed. So on that standpoint, I was not impressed at all with the default sounds. But we are running the FTSIM sound pack. And let me just set that real quick since I was looking at it before I forget. 29905. All right. I have the airplane sitting on ground power. I already hooked up the ground power. And we're going to just go up here to the overhead and kind of clean up some of the boxes here. I'm not exactly sure the order. I know Mateo Chewy put out the video. I'm still working on it, man. Crew supply oxygen, we'll go ahead and turn that on. We don't have any APU running right now, so we're still on ground power. We'll leave that on. We'll go ahead and turn off or turn on some of these power buses here. Hydraulics, I guess, can stay off for right now. Cargo vent fans, we'll turn those off. And these are going to be faulted. These are ground hydraulics. We'll leave that off right now. And NSS, we'll turn that on. Cargo air conditioning, we're going to go ahead and turn on these isolation valves. We don't need any bleed, I can tell you that right now, because we don't have any ground air hooked up. We're going to preset it, though, for normal flow. Make sure that is in auto when we do turn on the APU. Nav lights can go ahead and come on. Seatbelts off, no smoking. Emergency exit lights off until we get the airplane fueled up and ready to go. All right. The checklist is very thorough for this airplane. I know it's extremely thorough to the point of where I just stopped doing it because I would need probably several dozen hours on the airplane to get the checklist down. Darth Beelan, thank you so much, man, for becoming a member, private pilot. Welcome to the channel. Exclamation point welcome for your new perks here on board, my friend. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Let's go ahead and first get the initialization done. That's going to be kind of my struggle today. So we're going to do, we're Delta Airlines 357 Heavy. We've got that. And we're going to go from Atlanta Hartsfield to MMUN. And Mike Sierra Delta is our alternate for international operations. The company route, I think there's a way to pull it up, right? I don't know. Atlanta, MMUN. Apply. I don't know if that actually loads it or not here. Let's see. We are cruising altitude at flight level 400. Oh, geez, that's temperature. Disregard. We're going to just leave that blank. Oh, no. Cruise temp. Oh, man, let's just say it's minus 40 C. Cruise flight level, already made a mistake, 400. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of simulator airplanes with touch screens or with a CCD display. So the Embraer 170 family, 170, 190, it did look like a loaded flight plan. That's cool. We had the very similar setup here with the CCD display. And you put your hand over it and you use your finger to move the cursor around. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I actually prefer screens like we have in the Airbus where you have all the gauges on the outside. But it is what it is. I mean, it's just personal preference. You know, I'm sure some of you guys love the touchscreen, but I just think I don't know. In a simulator, it just seems weird, you know, because I don't know. That's just, like I said, personal preference. Cost index, we're going to do 75. Tropo 3690. So actually, I already have all this highlighted here. I've got our chart selected here. We're doing the SMILTS 2 wallet transition, and I already highlighted some important information for crews. Anytime you're going across the, well, not going across the pond, but going across the Gulf, we got a couple more things we want to take into account here. We got a flight longer than 2 hours, so we're going to look at some more contingency planning. Flight level 400. The Tropo is actually 395, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. 39500. We'll enter that. And that looks good. Okay. All right, let's go to the IRS. And IRS aligning on GPS position. That looks good. IRS 2, IRS 3. All right. We do need to go to the serve page. I know this. You guys were telling me about this one. So let's go transponder auto. TARA and above for VATSIM purposes. I know this is not how you would set it up here for the for real life, but because we're on VATSIM, we're going to set it up. We're going to turn our transponder stuff on, and I do know that this all has to come into the auto position here. Auto, and we'll dart TAWS. We'll go ahead and turn all that on. That looks good to me. Alright, so we're out of the serve page. Let's go back to FMS1. Let's go back to our flight plan. Looks like we're in here. Now, you guys said to use Max. I saw this is way easier to program via the backup McDo. Okay, so that's what I actually was doing initially because this is what I'm familiar with, right? This McDo down here. I thought you guys would roast me if I decided to load the airplane from this McDo here. But if that's a real technique, then I got no problem doing it. But yes, you can load the McDo or the flight plan from this McDo screen back here in the aircraft, and we're going to go ahead and just do our departure out of here. I'm planning on departing, let's see what we got for Atlanta ATIS. Let's see, departing 8, so they're departing eastbound. So with an eastbound departure where we are, we're probably going to request a runway for takeoff performance. I'm going to request 9 or left. I don't want to go up to the north complex either. So we're going to request 9 left, so I'm going to set 9 left for departure, and our flight plan routing shows us going off these, was it the SMILTS? What was the S? Yes, the SMILTS 2 departure. So we're going to scroll down here. The SMILTS 2 departure, a wallet transition. We'll insert that, and we also have to load up our arrival. Now, we didn't have an arrival from, we just have a direct to. I can tell you right now, in real life, I've pretty much been living on the Cancun routes from North America down to Cancun from all across the country the last couple of months. You're probably going to get the VOMAR 1 Alpha, the NOSUG 1 Alpha. They're not just going to give you a direct from the field. So what I'm going to do preemptively here is I'm going to go arrival. And Cancun is kind of interesting. They normally always used to land 1-2 left. Then they shut 1-2 left down for construction, and everybody was landing 1-2 right and departing 1-2 left. Now, as of last month, they've really switched over, and they're landing 1-2 left again. So we are going to be doing 1-2 left, DME number 4. That is the one that we typically get coming from this direction. I'm going to do the NOSA, is it the NOSA or the VOMAR? We'll do the VOMAR 1 Alpha, and we're going to do it from Vixie. And if ATC comes online, you know, we can change it from there. But right now, let's go back up here. We'll go into our plan mode. We'll kind of step through this again. We'll go plan mode, and let's go ahead and step through our flight plan here. So we're going to scroll down. Oh, it's confusing me. It's going backwards. The McDo keys are a little, they're backwards in my opinion. All right, hold on. Let's get back to the top. Okay, here we go. So we're on the SMILTS departure. Boom, boom. All the way down. Wallet, US, C2I, NOST, CGAR, Minnow, Itlam. Hopefully we'll be able to go direct Vomar at some point instead of going all the way out to Itlam. And then this is the Vomar Alpha, and see how Vixie, it connects really nice for the 1-2 left transition. So from this direction you might get the Vomar, you might get something else, maybe the Nosug, but unless we get ATC in Mexico or Cancun down there, we're not going to worry about it. We'll just fly that arrival down there like that. So that flight plan actually looks good. We'll go ahead and close that out. I'm going to go back down here to my primary, or my, I guess it's a backup McDo, but it makes it a hell of a lot easier for me as a narrow body Airbus guy to set up this airplane here. So we've got our main flight plan in there. Let's do our secondary. Oh, can we not even do secondary? We can't do secondary from here. Init B page, we'll do that up from up top. Rad nav, I guess we'll leave it.
Donation.
Cog page, I'm going to set Atlanta in here, 09er left. We'll set that. Rand Cool coming in with a $20 bomber. Thank you, Rand. I appreciate that so much, man. I appreciate your support on the channel, dude. He says, I've been out of the net, so I haven't been available, though I thought I would celebrate my return by buying you a bottle of JD Rye. It's very good. FYI, makes a great old-fashioned. Thanks for all you do. Hey, Rand, I am going to need that. I'm going to take that donation specifically, and I'm going to go to the store after this stream, and I'm going to do that because, as you know, I do have number 2 on the way here. It's coming down to the wire, guys. 2 more weeks, and I'll have baby number 2 in the house. So I'm going to enjoy a nice old-fashioned courtesy of Rand Cool. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. All right, so I got Atlanta 9 left set in there. Perf data, we got to set that up now. Okay, so this is where I'm probably going to make some mistakes. I'm going to try to keep the chat here in my field of use so you guys can. I know there's a delay, but I'm having issues getting my performance loaded properly. And performance, I mean the actual loading of the aircraft, like weight and balance and stuff. So let me get my camera set up here. And we're going to come down here. We're going to look at this. All right, so I'm going to just do a middle-of-the-road load here, right? So I'm going to go load. All right, so we'll make sure I do everything right here, guys. We got 12 crew, first class, business class, economy class. I wonder how many people this actually holds in this configuration here. So that looks good. There's our weights. Okay. So now, I believe I hit implement, correct? Implement. There we go. Passenger and cargo loaded. Excellent. Okay, so I did that right. I think that's what I was missing next time. And here's our weights. So what I can do, if I'm not mistaken, is I can go over here and I can swap. I want to put these screens next to each other. I guess I can, huh? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our perf page. I just feel like it's all a little bit out of whack here. Init page. And how do I get to my init page B is what I want to know. Page 1 of 24, active init. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pop out this McDo. So that's what my issue was here. I was having trouble loading the proper init B page from that other screen. And I wouldn't say it's trouble. It's just I haven't had enough time with the airplane yet. All right, so for fuel, this is where I made my mistake on my one and only test flight as I landed about 30,000 pounds overweight. So we don't want to do that today. Although I did find out the fuel dump does work in this airplane, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's scroll down here. Gate fuel is, and I changed this to kilos here so we don't make the mistake. 19.6, let's call it 19.7 fuel. So now how do I set up 19.7? Fuel on board, I've got 2,000. I need 19.7. So, takeoff, destination. Let's go destination fuel. Let's just do 19,700. Give me all of that. Oh, I see what it does. Okay. That's gate fuel. They want me to load all these in separately. Fuel and load. Gas you need to fuel load also, but load fuel first. Go to fuel and load. Gas, gas, gas. On the drop down, weight and balance. Oh, thank you, Felix. It was on that drop down page on the weight and balance. I forgot. Yeah. You have to load fuel and load options in that page. Load fuel first. All right. All right, so I've got that. I got 19.7. I guess they wanted me to load all this stuff in here. Technically, I guess I could have put 11.6 in here. But I guess that's fine. All right, so implement fuel loaded. Fuel CG at forward limit. Okay, there's our, we'll pick up that in a little bit. Over about that. So I got that set up. Let me go back to my passengers. Alright, so let me go over here. Let me close you for a second. This is where I just want to make sure I get this right, because fuel, perf, fuel and load. Here we go. Zero fuel weight. So our zero fuel weight now is down here, 170.5. Is this, I mean, I know I'm probably doing it wrong, but I feel like this is just a really inefficient way to do this here. Zero fuel weight CG, 18%. 18, we'll go ahead and hit enter there. Block fuel, we need 17, what did I say? 19.7. 19. Let's do 0.19 decimal 7. Let's do that. There we go. 19.7. That's our total gate fuel. Cost index 75. Just put 19.7 in the destination and that's it? Okay. If you follow the fuel loading in the dispatch, you can get this perfect. If I follow the fuel loading in the dispatch. Jeremy, I did notice that. It's funny that you picked up on that. I didn't say anything, but yeah, that old school in McDo, it's kind of like the original toll list problems. All right, well, we got enough gas. We've got it on board, right? But now it says fuel CG at forward limit. I don't like that. That doesn't seem correct. Let me come back in here real quick. Fuel loading. Fuel. CG at forward limit. I should shift some weight to the back. Yeah, that's okay. So let's do that with the passengers. Let's go. Where's my loads? Can I change this? Unload passengers. All right. So if I do a middle of the load, let's go here. Fuel load at forward CG limit. What the heck, man? So I have to manually load this here? That's in the red. How about 4? Change you to 3. Okay, you know what? Why don't we just do light load? How's that? Invalid configuration. Great. Passenger weight. All right, 198 economy class. What happens if I do that? Excess aft CG. Uh-oh. RIP. Oh boy. Ripsicles. Alright, here we go. That's not good. Let's reset. Son of a bee here. Let's go. At least it simulated coming off the GPU. That's pretty nifty. Here we go. Restart it again. Reset. Oh my god. Seriously? We're going to be stuck with this now? I'm starting the APU. This is why I wanted to avoid this airplane. Unload. Light load. Implement. Not in loading configuration. Oh, now we got to go back and do this. And we got to go ground service. Loading config. Auto config you guys. Let's get our ground power back on. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Yeah, Aaron Hastings. This is based on real world ops. This airplane. I just feel like I don't know. I know it's because I'm doing stuff wrong here, but I just feel like everything is so inefficient on this airplane. I don't know if it should be that way. I'm sure in real life you just press a button and it loads everything for you. Alright, ground service, doors and hatches, we're already set for that. So let's go back to airplane, passengers. I'm just going to take a light load, screw it. We're going to do light load, implement, screw them. And we got fuel on board. What do we got for fuel? We've got 19.7. Okay, we got enough fuel and we got enough passengers. We're back in it here. We're back in it here. Alright. Now we got to reconfigure everything else up here, don't we? Let's go ahead and do this real quick. Let's get that on. The APU is online. Let's turn on the bleed. Let's get on some air in here. We got it. We got it. Little tail strike. What a stupid airplane. I know it's just me, and you guys are like, oh, I love the 350. It's just because I haven't enough time on it. I'm going to get everything online here. Alright. We're back and running. We're right side up. Hopefully there's no damage modeling. This has happened in real life too. That's why they invented tail stands. That's why Southwest loads everything with a tail stand. Okay, so we're finally loading here. Let's go back. Let me switch you guys around. And now I gotta load all this crap again. Alright, zero fuel weight, 152.9. I am not touching the CG. 152.9 is set. Zero fuel weight CG with the light load is 22%. That seems like it's a little bit better. Oops. I just extended flaps. Let's bring those up. They shouldn't be extending with the hydraulics off, but that's alright. 22% CG. Block fuel is 19.7. Oop, I gotta do 019. 019.7. I don't care about any of that. 274 people on board. That looks good. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm also going to just verify this back here. Oh man, we got to do a company route again. Atlanta to MMUN. Blame it all on FlightFactor. Yes, yes, yes. Andre, am I going to be on VATSIM? I'm sitting on VATSIM, man. I am on VATSIM. DAL, hopefully they don't simulate tail strikes. You know what's funny is I was actually in Atlanta when I had a ground collision. Well, I wouldn't, that sounds bad. I was tugged into a ground vehicle in Atlanta. So it's fitting that we have a tail strike here in Atlanta at the gate. Cost index 75, cruise flight level is 400. I'm just going to do it this way. And NIT B is already loaded. Okay, cool. Company route is KATL to MMUN. No? Not going to load for me? There we go. We'll do it this way. Apply. Boom. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're back in it now. Dimitri, what's up, man? A couple of 350 mods? Thank you. I will check them out. I'll probably never fly this plane again, though. 9 are left. Right? We said we're requesting 9 left. Yes, we did. 9 left on the Smilts. Hi. If the worst thing we do today is have a tail strike at the gate, I'm okay with that. Smilts to the wallet transition. Insert. Let me just verify, since I did get a PDC, which that'll be interesting. Atlanta Center, Smilts, Ulis, Cancun Direct, maintain 10,000. Alright, so we'll take care of all that last. But I'm just going to leave. I won't put the Vomar in there right now because of PDC yet. Alright, so our V-speeds. Let me make sure my init page is complete. It is. Perf page. Fuel and load. It's already set, right? But why is our gross weight not in there? Maybe because we're not done. The alignment? That might be it. Flaps 2, takeoff shift 0, thrust reduction, Toga takeoff, in-op. I feel like in-op is going to be a theme for today. We still have to wait for the alignment. Make sure our serve, do we have to come back in here? Our serve page is good. We'll go TARA for VATSIM purposes. Need to hit the second for init B. You need to hit R second line select key from init B. What? I mean, I can do it from here. Init B is loaded, so we've got that. We're just waiting on perf data. I think we have to wait for the alignment again. Let's come back up top, make sure our overhead is set up. It is set up, that is good. Let's do ATC things right now since we don't want to be sitting here at the gate all day long. We'll set 10,000 feet. That was our top altitude per the clearance. We also have a transponder that we got to do here. So we have a squawk of 2046. What? 20446. Okay. VHF. Atlanta Center is 3297. Oh. All right, and yep, there we go. On the init page, hit the iris button, then align on the second screen. On the init page, hit align on the second screen. IRS, align, avail in 3 minutes. I think it has to realign because we screwed it up, right? It's aligning. It says avail in 3 minutes. So we just have to wait for that. And then we have to wait for our perf numbers. Brakes auto fault, anti-skid off. That's back to normal mode. Doors are open. 2995, 10,000 feet. We've got our flight plan in the box, so we are just waiting essentially. There's a takeoff page on the EFB, go in the EMD and perf calculator. Perf. Flight plan, perf. I think we just gotta wait. Perf's on the EFB perf calc tab. There's a takeoff page in the EFB. Is this not the EFB? Is this not the EFB? Or you mean down here? Oh, yeah, down here in this thing. Ah, that's what I remember. We're not going to worry about the slope. It's negligible. Flap setting. Let's do a flap 1. Oh, no, I think it was flaps 2 per our... There we go, 1 plus 7. All right, that works for me. 34, 34, 38. Really? That seems awfully... awfully low. 34, 34, 38. Those are Airbus speeds. All right. 134, 138. Good thing we're flexing. Toga takeoff. I know it said that we're going to have flex, but we're not going to flex. We're going to do a Toga. Flaps 1. All right. Thrust reduction, everything looks good there. Still waiting on the alignment now. EFB is called OIS. That would have helped. Yeah. OIS. I guess I am pretty light. We don't have very many people on board. You eventually get into the flow. It's actually pretty intuitive. I'm sure it is if I took the time to sit here and learn this airplane. But I'll show you my number one problem with the airplane. We'll talk more about it in cruise. But look at this wing here. I'm pretty sure FS9 airplanes have better wings than this right here. And for $65 with terrible sounds out of the gate and wing texturing like this, I'm already on the downside. But I will say, with the one flight I did initially, I actually was kind of impressed with the handling of the airplane. So I'm not bashing it by any means. We got a long time in cruise to talk about it. We got through our tail strike at the gate. We're good there. We got our GPS is primary. That looks good. We have our perf data is set. Everything else looks good. So let's go ahead and clean up the overhead. We no longer need external power. That is off. APU bleed is on. Let's come down here and let's reconfigure the airplane here. So we need to go to ground services, doors and hatches. Let's start closing it up here. Let's go ahead and go close all. Ground equipment. We no longer need stairs, the bus, the fuel truck, the luggage loader. We no longer need ground power. That looks good. Pushback. We'll do it through better pushback. So I think that looks pretty good here. I'm going to leave the perf calculator down on the bottom. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and swap these back. We'll leave our perf data here, and we'll leave this over here. I think we're pretty much ready to go. Team Vodka says it's okay, you can bash it. I have to press the 4 surf buttons by the McDo. Oh, yeah, I think I remember that. These? No. I know there's something... We'll go ahead and lock the cockpit door while we're sitting here. Above. System 1, System 2, above on the TCAS mode. There we go. Surf system degraded. Why is that? Alright, so I'm sitting with the serve system degraded. That's one other thing. Is that normal here at the gate? Let's go to serve page control. Oh, TARA norm. Why would I have a... Is it okay to push with it like that? The serve degraded? Put the flight plan page down there. For better pushback, you have to hit the toe brakes after you release. Yes, I did discover that. Serve page again, you reset. System 1, etc. The serve buttons are the OIS EFB second page under serve. Right, so I've been down here, I've been in the serve page, I've got them all set up, right? We've got squawk, auto, everything is on here. Did I not hit all 4 buttons? Hudson says, I'm cringing, this is so painful. I'm with you, man. This is why I was trying to avoid this airplane. These aren't even really push buttons. Oh, those. There we go. We got it. Kaylin, welcome to Private Pilot, man. I'm glad to have you on board here. I don't know why you would join on this stream, but I am thankful. Welcome aboard, my friend. Exclamation point, welcome. All right, let's go ahead and set up for a pushback.
Cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
He's pushing back, so we're going to push straight back. And then we're at an angle here. Let's do this, and then he's going to pull us forward. And we'll disconnect at the line right here.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Aaron says, I'm getting confused now. McDo, I hear you. Oh, jeez. Cabin crew being wondering what's going on. Yeah, we got it. TCAS 1, 2, 3, 4. We got it. We got it. We're all on. These buttons down here. So what is, you know, we're all saying it's the serve buttons and the serve page. What does serve stand for? Because I think that would really clarify surveillance. It can't be surveillance. It has to do with transponder. So what's the serve stand for? We got it figured out. We got it all our, everything looks good here. We're ready for pushback. We got our squawk in the box. We're squawking 2046. We got our clearance. Everything looks good. We're maintaining 10,000 feet. Departure frequency is not online, so that's fine. We got 10,000 set, 2995.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Jack says, I love it when V1 has to figure things out. Dude, I'm telling you, man. I've only done one flight in this airplane. One, literally. I've only started it one time, only done one FMS load, so bear with me. Jeremy says, I heard real 350 pilots love this jets. Dude, I do not doubt that in mind. I think the 350 is one hell of an airplane in real life. Do not get me wrong. I think it is. If I were to fly one wide body, I would want to be on the 350. But, and this is just what my personal preference is, I don't like simulator airplanes that have touchscreen. It feels wrong. Although, I gotta say, I kind of like this crosshair that they have for these touchscreens. I think this is one of the better touchscreen simulations I've seen in X-Plane. But it's just my personal preference for flying airplanes in the sim, as I like airplanes that aren't touchscreen. Alright, we're not going to start until we're disconnected, but hey, we're pushing off the gate. We did it. We did it. How long into the stream are we? Oh man, almost 30 minutes. Look at that shot, though. Yeah, I have to hit the flight attendant button to kill the overhead. We'll do that on the flight. We got a long flight down there. We'll do the flight attendant assassination once we're up in cruise, guys. We're okay right now. It doesn't stand for anything. It's like share. Serve is just serve. But what is serve? It's got to be... What does serve mean, Aaron Hastings? This takes study level to new heights. Look at it. We're being pushed back through all kinds of vehicles and everything. I should have turned the beacon on. And you know, I bet a lot of this could have been avoided if I were to follow a checklist, but I mean, nobody got time for a checklist right now. This is no MD-80. Isn't serve surveillance as an ADS-B? Well, that's kind of what I thought, Kevin. Q&H isn't synced up. Uh-oh, 2995, thank you. Good catch over there. Crisis averted. 2995. Hey, I do know this, though. We got climb nav blue 10,000, 1 FD2. And this is the same on the 350 as it is the narrow body. I'm going to zoom in here because this is important for you guys to understand. If you see 1 FD2 here, you're pretty much good to go. Because that means you have both FMGCs. Well, I don't know if it's the same on the 350, but essentially when we do a flight instruments on our checklist, we do flight instruments and you say check, this is the most important column of your FMA that you're looking to verify. Because if you have 1 FD2 here, that means all systems are online and operating. It's possible to have 1 FD1 or 2 FD2 or dash FD2 or dash FD1. So there's a lot of different configurations this FMA column can be in, but as long as you see 1 FD2 here, in the narrow body anyway, that is your flight instruments check, because that means everything is good to go there. Dimitri says, I think you blew your gate time slot out of the water today. Dimitri, I sure did, man. I thought everything was going so well until the stupid baggage loading. That's what I screwed up, man. I had everything loaded. We loaded our flight plan. We were clicking on all cylinders, and then I had a CG issue. That's what screwed up. Can it implement, like, so from... Is there a way that this airplane is connected to... What do we use? SimBrief? So, like, when you have your zero fuel weights and all that stuff from SimBrief, is it possible to just uplink it to the airplane and will load your passengers and fuel for you? I'm curious. I know the fly-by-wire 320 does that in FS 2020.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
All right. Brakes are set. Let me go ahead and spam the rudder pedals here so they disconnect. And clear. We're good to start. Good to start. Engine mode selector to ignition start. We have instant bleed pressure. Take a listen to the sound, guys. We're starting engine 1. I'm going to be quiet. You take a listen. Malin says that's what I said at the beginning. Checklist.
And has been removed. Hand signal will be on the right.
Okay, so it is surveillance.
And have a great flight.
So those sounds, that's FT-Sim sound pack. Meh. Let's go ahead and start up engine 2. We got a bunch of bleed faults up there. We're going to have to take care of that once we get started. So, surveillance, ADSB, that's how ATC surveils you. Yeah, that's all I needed to know. If you guys said the surveillance button, then I would, all TCAS, right? It would make sense, because that's where all our TCAS, above, below, and stuff is on. Just the very French version. It's not muted, Nick DE. This is just a sound pack. Now, you guys know how big I am on sounds. The default sounds on this airplane I would rank in the negatives, but there are some add-on packs. I know a lot of guys use Mango. This is the FT-Sim one. I'm not saying it's bad by any means. I think there's room for improvement. Not bad. And let me just make sure, I saw somebody did comment about the options. I do have my sound. My general volume is all the way up, so that is good. And I'm going to just keep the perf calculator, or I guess I'll keep the fuel page up over there. 2 good starts. That goes back to normal flaps 1. Let's watch this extension here. Okay, I'll give him a 10 for 10 on the flap extension. That flap extension is pretty good. A little bit, I mean, I don't know. I can't say. I've never sat right here on a 350 and heard the flaps, but I like that flap sound, that drown out sound of the motor spooling down. Hit the like button for this X-Enviro shot here over the wing. That just looks beautiful. Please, I mean, that is... You know, this video, we're going to have a lot of people not watch it because of what a disaster the at the gate was. So if you guys can do me a favor and just hit the like button for this image right here, it'll really help the video, help people find the video, even though the whole gate process was a disaster. But all right, we got 2 good starts. Flaps 1. Arm the spoid brakes. They are armed. And let's come back to the overhead. We'll clean it up. The bleed will come offline. APU master. We are pretty much operating in a lights out configuration, just like any other Airbus. We got a fault light here in the APU gen. That's normal. We'll go ahead and turn that off. No longer an APU gen. We got to do a takeoff config test. Everything else is in the green. I'm going to do a flight control check here. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral. Let's watch it from here real quick. Not bad for an FS9 wing. Not bad. All right, so we got our flight controls. That looks good. I think we're about ready to call ATC and get out of here. Godspeed. Here we go. We're on 3297. We're Delta 357 Heavy. We're at the FCOM course, and we have information. Kilo. Atlanta ground. Good morning, Delta 357 Heavy. We just off the FCOM course there with information. Kilo, ready to taxi, requesting 9 left.
Got you down, runway, fly runway heading 36 center, clear for takeoff.
Fly runway heading 36 center, clear for takeoff, push 33.
I hope he heard me. Atlanta ground, Delta 357 Heavy, radio check.
Delta 357 Atlanta center, contact Atlanta ground 121.9.
21.9, thanks. Oh, Atlanta ground just came online. Either that or I just missed it. 121.9.
Center Delta 1066. We have the airport outside when it helps.
1066, thank you.
Good evening, Atlanta ground.
Whoa.
610, we're outside ramp 9 information. Kilo, ready for taxi. 9-1.
Delta 610, Atlanta ground, good. With Hunter, left at Mike 2, taxi at Mike.
I left at Mike 2 via Mike for Delta 610.
Atlanta ground, good morning, Delta 357 Heavy, information Kilo off the FCOM course, requesting 9 left for performance.
That was blocked. Atlanta ground, Delta 1366, we're 3 south, ready to...
Bryson, yes, we are on Vatson.
36, Atlanta ground.
I guess we're 9 south. Dimitri, if you think the wing textures and sounds are bad, wait till you experience the landing and flare logic. Goodness. Giuliandi, I agree with you 110%, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. I'll get to that here in a little bit. But I agree with you, man.
9 left, be a Mike, Spirit 1209.
Jeez, everybody's... There you go, Max Rank. You're absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely right. Atlanta ground, Delta 357 Heavy, 9 South, Kilo, taxi.
Delta 357 Heavy, Atlanta ground, good afternoon. One more Charlie, please.
And Delta 1366, walking on Charlie.
Okay, so it's not on there.
Okay, Delta 1366, stand by. We'll call you back in minutes.
Does he want it on? Is that what he wants it on? Let me go back to VHF. You picking up mode Charlie now for Delta 357 Heavy?
Delta 357 for drawings 1209 our Atlanta ground.
I guess I had it in auto or off.
We have a quick issue here, need 1 more minute. Okay, drawings 1209 our home official will call you back shortly.
What the hell? Is this like actual Atlanta right now?
And Delta 1366 ready.
This is unreal.
Ready to go. Okay, Delta 1366 runway 911 Mike 2 taxi Lima 5 Mike.
Lima 5 Mike for 911, Delta 1366.
And Delta 610, give way to the company 820, coming up on Lima 5 on your right.
We'll give way to company 610.
Atlanta ground, Delta 357 Heavy, taxi 9 South, Kilo.
Delta 357 Heavy, runway 911 Mike 2 taxi via Mike.
9 left, Mike 2, taxi via Mike, Delta 357. Alright. Taxi via Mike. Well, he didn't really tell me to get there, but we're going to go straight out then. Brakes off. I don't want to be like that one
ground,
Southwest
good
pilot.
afternoon, Delta 295 behind company at 9 South, rate taxi with Kilo.
Okay, Delta 295 Heavy on ground, runway 19 left at Mike to follow the company.
Runway 9 left, follow the company at Mike 2, Delta 295.
Gotta hit the like button for that. Are you serious?
Crush rolling 911 Mike 2 taxi, Lima 6 Mike, and follow the company.
This is Mike, right? Yeah.
Lima 6 Mike will follow the Delta 75 service 1209.
Alright, we'll do a takeoff config test after we do one more cinematic drive-by here. Okay, this is a 100% liker. If you have not liked the video, are you kidding me? This is one of the most beautiful shots I've seen here in X-Plane in a while. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Alright, here we go. Takeoff config test. And where are the auto brakes in this bad boy? It's over here somewhere. Brake selector. Oh. Signs on, camera, spoilers arm. Auto brake, RTO, takeoff config test, takeoff config normal. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be all green. Oh, you know what? We totally forgot about that, guys. Signs are on and auto.
Go again for Delta.
How's your lighting so good? My cockpit is incredibly dark. Not sure, Aaron. I'm all I know is I'm running as X Enviro right now, so that might have something to do with it.
And Delta 610, contact less at 132.97 today.
Florida Sun at 3297, Delta 610, after.
Man, it's a busy day here in Atlanta. Jeez.
598 heavy, 9 south, looking taxi on 9 left.
598 heavy to Atlanta Center, crush Atlanta ground.
Jack Mackey says, is there anything else the takeoff config button does aside from clearing the memo? Yeah, it actually runs a system test to make sure everything is running. So there's a couple of parameters that have to be met that if it is not, it will give you it'll trip an ECAM warning, such as oil temperatures, configuration, of course. That's the whole point, takeoff config. Now, I don't know. I can't speak 100% to the 350. I'm only telling you what I know from the narrow body Airbus. But there are additional things outside of the configuration that it will trip, one of which is the oil temperature. And that's especially when it's a cold morning, and especially if you're in a Neo. You know, if the FO is on top of it, he'll be like, hey, I'm going to ding you. And because he'll run the takeoff config test, and it'll trip the ECAM memo. And we'll say, okay, we'll just hold it there, wait for the ECAM to go away because it's saying low oil temperature or engine 2 oil temp or whatever it is. So there are a couple things outside of the configuration that it checks for. Now, for the 350, like I said, I'm not 100% sure what additional information it checks, but you get the idea. Auto brakes, lower button beside the ECAM. Lower button right here. Beautiful. RTO arm. I feel like that should be labeled. Hey, we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. All I know is we're going to be light as hell. We got a COVID load on here. We're doing a Toga takeoff. We are going to be rocketing out of here. What are my thoughts on the 350 so far? I don't know. I probably would have felt a lot better if I didn't have the tail strike at the gate there. We didn't get a whole tail stand at the gate, which is kind of ironic. But we'll get there. I think for me to have a 100% unbiased opinion, I need to spend more time in this airplane, get the flow of things down. It's like anything. You know, you get into the MD-80, and if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get super frustrated. So it's kind of the same concept. And it's even more so for me because I feel like, oh, it's an Airbus. I should know it, right? But there's so much more, like, just off-the-cuff stuff in this airplane, I think, that I don't know yet. So it's hard for me to give an unbiased judgment after it made me do a tail stand at the gate there. We'll see. We'll talk more in flight here. I'll say the ground handling isn't that bad. I think the ground handling is pretty decent here. I do have my yoke set up as my tiller. You know, we're relatively light here. I haven't even touched the thrust levers. We're just rolling here at a pretty good clip, 12 knots. That's pretty realistic, I believe. So, ground handling so far is okay. Fubar. Yeah. Yeah, asked me that a few minutes ago. That's exactly what it would have been. I don't know, had an internet hiccup there, it looks like. Go ahead for Delta 357 Heavy.
Delta 357,
3297, Delta 357 Heavy. Where'd everybody go?
And,
I feel like there were people in front of me and there's not people anymore. Oh, we get an internet issues here with VATSIM. Oh, there they are. Q8 pilots. What is up, man? Welcome to the channel. He says the aircraft is fun, but does not get the Q8 pilot seal of approval. Q8 pilot, I would agree with that 100%, my friend. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you here, Q8. I don't know if this is my internet doing this or what's going on here, like with the intermittent disconnects and. Jeremy says the Airbus is an Airbus. It's the advantage of being a 350. I would agree. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, any systems related stuff on here I feel pretty confident figuring out. It's honestly, for me, just doing the loading of the airplane and getting that whole initialization thing down is the most challenging part. And that's simply because I don't have enough time on this module here in X-Plane. So go ahead, set the brake here. We'll kill the light. Whoa, a little aggressive there on that one. It does also help to watch a real cockpit setup on YouTube with a real 350. There's more work to do than a narrow body. Oh, I don't doubt that at all, Simon. I 100% believe that. I'm sure there's more work to do, but I just, you know, I need to take some time to study it and watch it. The checklist system on it is pretty cool. I mean, it's extremely thorough. I think it's definitely one of those things where it would really be helpful to have a two-crew environment. I don't even know if there's a multi-crew config file for this airplane, but you start dealing with wide-body aircraft, you really start seeing why you need multiple people up there going back and forth. What did you when the power went out in February? I had a generator, thank goodness. Comms are pretty broken up. Is it only me? I do love this little winglet here on the 350. Alright, 9 left, Mike 2, line up and wait, Delta 357 Heavy. It was kind of broken, but in real life, I would definitely ask to verify. Let's see if we can do a cinematic turn onto the runway here without going off the taxiway. Oh, disconnected from network? What's going on? Alright, you guys back with me? I'm gonna just go ahead and leave VATSIM offline. Oh, no, we're back. We're back. I think we took a minor lightning strike. We took a lightning strike. Hey, we're back on it, guys. We're alright. We took a lightning strike. Holy crap, my whole house vibrated. We're okay. We're okay. And we had a minor disconnect there for Delta 357. You guys showing us here, still holding in position, 9 left?
Delta 357, don't see you on the scope right now. I can't see you on the runway too.
Alright, I'm gonna just Cancun is cursed. You got it, man. I see everybody. Hey, I don't have internet problems, but when I do, it's with 350 people watching. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Oh. RNAV grid, 9 left, clear for takeoff, Delta 357 Heavy. Alright, we're ready. Here we go, spool them up 50. We're rolling. Come on, Phantom 320, you gotta get those lights, dude. 80 knots, stress set. Get back on the center line here. Here we go. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Flyby. That's pretty sweet. Yoga! Hit the like button for that yoga, man, and this 350. Takeoff sounds are pretty good. Thrust climb. Auto thrusts. I don't know what's happening with the wind there. Flap 0. After takeoff checklist. Oh, I wanted to... I think we're back. We're back. Back again. All right, good. Here we go. We're going open climb. I'm off the network because I don't want to just plague those guys with my internet issues. We're thrust climb, open climb, up to 400 at a 10,000 feet. Lights are coming off. Wow, I swear, this Cancun airport is cursed, man. We no longer need the logo lights. We'll kill that. Strobe and beacon are on. Let's do another flyby shot. I feel like X Enviro is having issues. I'm gonna go Cavoc here real quick. See if that kind of calms us down here. I don't know if my internet issues are giving X Enviro a bunch of wind issues as well. Anthony says, never a dull moment with V1. I swear, man. I can't ever catch a break. This stream is sponsored by Azobo. Oh, that's funny. I don't know what's going on with the turbulence shaking there. Alright, we're climbing up 330 knots. Nice little crosswind. We'll zoom it out a little bit here. Beautiful FMS2 situation here with a profile climb mode. What sounds am I using? I'm using the FT Sim sound pack. FT Sim sound pack. We're looking good here in climb. Everything else is looking good systems-wise. Looks like the turbulence has finally calmed down a little bit. Yes, it has. Well, look at that shot. Now let's just chill for a minute. Delta reporting severe turbulence. That would definitely be a severe turbulence, man. On the plus side, the tailwind is nice at higher altitudes. Yeah, we're going to be flying mostly into a headwind, quartering headwind, I think, on this flight. I'm going to give us a direct 2 here in a minute, straighten up the line. Going down south, so what you guys may not understand is going down to, whenever you're cutting across the Gulf of Mexico in particular, you can't just go direct. You have to be on published airways when you're going, it's not oceanic, but there's another name for it. So there's certain reporting points that they want you to miss. So you can go direct to, let's see, the starting point of a waypoint of an airway, and then after that you have to remain on that airway until you transfer over into Merida Center or whatever the center is on the south side there in South America that they want you on. So you can get directs to a certain point, but then you got to be on a specific airway to go across the Gulf. And I'm going to simulate that too here. We're going to just set up a direct and get going here. Note to self, bourbon is required to tolerate this plane. Anthony, heck, I might call out for tomorrow's trip to tolerate this airplane. Jeez. We're probably through 18. Yeah, we'll go ahead and set standard here. Standard set. STDs for you and me. No, there it is. 1, 2, and 3. I feel like it's a little bit loud. Let's turn it down a tad, huh? We'll turn down X-plane a little bit here. And we're climbing up at 330. I do like the speed on this bird. I'm going to go, I guess it'd be our FMS page. Let's go ahead and check the perf. Cruise optimum is 42. Recommended max is 43. Very important to know these altitudes right here. Recommended max, here's a pop quiz for you guys. Can you fly above your recommended max flight level? Can you fly above your recommended max flight level? I think we covered this on one topic, on one flight a long time ago. I think it might have been the Hawaii ETOPS stream. Recommended max. Can I fly above that? How fast am I climbing? I'm doing 3,000 feet a minute here at a 24,000 feet. Which is pretty good, considering we're doing 330 knots. Aaron says you're simulating Delta, and yet you haven't reported a single case of light chop. That's I totally was going to, man. My internet was all jacked up there. Since we have alpha floor protection, why do we have speed warning in the Airbus? Jeremy, the good question. The speed warning will come before alpha floor. So that's saying, hey, dummy, what are you doing with your speed? Because if you don't do something about it, we're going to throw you an alpha floor here pretty quick. Also, you know, so for a real-world example of that, Jeremy, I actually was in an A319 one time, and the 319, when it's super light, when you have a super light load, I call them COVID loads, and it's really gusty, the VAP calculated is pretty darn low. So you're right down there by that VLS. And I've been in a situation where the aircraft actually started going speed on approach. Although we were at VAP, managed speed, everything was good, it just picked up a little bit of that trend going down below. So that's when I immediately said, okay, I'm done with the auto thrust. I'm going to take control of the auto thrust here, bump it up. And that's just an extra warning, right? Like if you didn't get that speed, you're not really in danger. It's just like, hey, you know, you're really riding the bottom of the what's the word I'm looking for? Of the power curve. You're really riding that low end of the power curve. So it kind of gives you a heads up before it says, oh, okay, I'm predicting a high alpha situation and we're going straight to alpha floor, which can happen. I've also been a part of that where the aircraft has tripped into alpha floor protection on approach just because the winds were so bad. The pilot that I was flying with was leaving the auto thrust on, and Airbus actually recommends in severe windy conditions when the auto thrust can no longer keep up, it actually says that in the manual that manual thrust should and could be used to kind of stay ahead of that power curve there, because if the winds are really shifty, that's when you get a potential to be in a low speed state or trip the stall protection to say, hey, I predict that we're going to be in a high alpha situation here and trigger alpha floor. And you get an alpha floor, even if you're way out at 3,000 feet, you're not supposed to continue the approach. You get an alpha floor, it's okay, let's just go around, clean it up, come back and give it another shot. So, yes, you can fly above recommended max. You can fly above the recommended max altitude, hence the word recommended. Okay, so if we can fly above recommended max, what is the point of the recommended max? There is one key to recommended max altitude. Why is there a recommended max? If we can fly above it, why even publish it here then? What does that altitude signify, the recommended max? And this is actually a pertinent topic for this specific flight because we just did come out of some nice little turbulence there. Man, that fork-boy ortho is looking straight juice down there. What's the tropo on the McDo, Andrew? That is your tropopause, and you can set the tropopause manually, which you're supposed to do, because it'll have a default one. So I actually even highlighted this here out of my flight plan. See, tropopause 395. I believe the default one on the McDo is about 36. You just come in there and put the actual tropopause in there for the aircraft performance. Efficiency? No, it's not efficiency. It's nothing to do with weight. Well, I guess I shouldn't say nothing to do with weight. Fuel engine usage? Nope. Is it not a prediction for best performance? No, it is not. Yeah, Gustavo. He must have some experience flying airplanes. Yes, it is a stall margin or a buffer. It's a 0.3 G buffer. So this could also vary, and I'm not going to speak for every airline because, you know, you're going to have SOPs, right? You may have an SOP at a certain airline that says we do not allow you to fly over the recommended max altitude. But from an Airbus perspective, you can fly above the recommended max altitude. All the recommended max altitude is it's a guarantee of a stall buffer margin. So if the air is not perfectly smooth, or let me rephrase that, it guarantees that you will have a buffer should you encounter rough air at that altitude. So once I go above 43,000 feet, I no longer have my stall margin buffer if the airplane starts bouncing around, which can lead to a high alpha situation, an alpha floor, something like that. So you don't want to go above recommended max, but technically you can still go above recommended max. But yeah, it has to do with a stall buffer, a buffet margin. And when we were climbing out there, you see all that turbulence. Now, if you listen to live ATC, or maybe you're just you're flying around or doing your flight training, and you're listening to center, you're getting flight following, and center comes on and asks an airplane, hey, can you accept fly level 370, or can you accept fly level 390? And the crew says stand by. They're probably checking their recommended max if they're in an Airbus to see if it will give them a proper stall buffet. Or you may hear a response similar to, well, we can only take that altitude if it's smooth. If it's reported smooth, then you don't have to worry about your stall buffet margin because you're not going to be buffeting around by any rough air, right? You don't have to worry about it. But if you're up there and you're above the recommended max and you get one bump, you're probably coming right back down to below that recommended max altitude or that recommended max altitude. So it has to do with keeping the airplane within a safety margin there should you encounter rough air. Now, when somebody said efficiency, the efficiency altitude is going to be your optimum flight level. So your optimum flight level is going to be what's the airplane is calculating is going to be your most efficient altitude for cruise. So that's where you get this number here. And you'll see as we burn fuel, look, our recommended max is now up to 43 because we're burning fuel. It is dependent upon weight of the aircraft, but that's not what it's showing you. That's not why we have recommended max. As we burn more and more fuel, this altitude will actually get higher and higher. Now, your optimum is your most efficient, and then, of course, you have your planned cruise. So at this point, I could say, hey, we could go to 42. And for fuel efficiency purposes, why don't we do it? Let's go ahead and go to 42. Let's go all the way up to 42,000 feet. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of straighten this up here a little bit. Let's go direct to Seagar intersection. So we're going to go FMS 1, flight plan, Delta 357, present position, direct to Seagar. Insert, here we go. In the turn, let's do a flyby shot. I don't mind that shot right there. Wow, look at that with the X and Viro love right there. Jeez. Gustavo says, yes, I'm cheating. There you go. Initial trading for the 320. I knew it. Missed Approach says the texture severely lacking. I agree. That wing looks like straight out of FS9. Now the livery from 19 Atom is absolutely fantastic. Where was the tropopause in the Cimbri flight plan again? The flight surgeon. So I use that United 19 format, and it's going to be right here for your FMS init load. And I imagine it's probably in a similar spot if you use a different format wherever you have your FMS initialization, where you got your weights here, your takeoff parameters, your landing parameters, your reference point, you're probably going to have your tropopause, your actual tropo listed right there, and then you just change that in the Epic Do. And you'll also have your actual temperature. So when you put in your initial cruise altitude, which is one thing I didn't do, I probably should have done it, was when I put in flight level 400, the standard is minus 60, but it's actually minus 3. It's actually 3 degrees colder, so you'd want to put in the actual temp instead of what the default temperature is. I guess Seagar leads to Cuba. Alright, 8-2 out cruise. We're bumping it up here. Let's go down here. Let's look at our perf cruise numbers. If I connect back to VATSIM, do you think they'll be upset with me? Let's see here. FMS perf cruise. Let's bump it up. 99. What's that going to give us? 8.4 Mach still? I guess we'll leave it at 8.4. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's not bad. Jeremy says, I wonder how the flight planner determines what the planned cruise altitude will be for your flight since they plan way ahead. There's probably a slew of things that they look at. You know, canned routes or canned altitudes, which is what is most commonly used. Weather reports. Smoke them if you got them. Signs are off. We'll do a cabin tour here in a little bit, but I guess we'll enjoy some more of this ortho here as we're still over the top of it. How do I feel like it flies? I don't really have any problems so far with the basic handling out of the airplane. I mean, it does feel really heavy. I've only done one flight in it, and you know, most of the time I was in cruise. I'm gonna try to turn the autopilot off a little bit early when we get down there in Cancun. Maybe if the weather's clear, we'll do a visual approach, but I'm not exactly sure, you know, how I feel about how it flies. I don't think it's unrealistic yet. I'd be very curious to see how the flare mode landing logic is. From what I've gathered, it's a pretty floaty airplane. Can we get a shout out for the brother-in-law that just landed a job with GoJet? Absolutely, Max. Absolutely. On to GoJet Airlines. They fly mostly. Are they all CRJs, Max? He'll be a CRJ FS 2020 expert for sure. That's good stuff, man. Al W says the tropopause indicates the altitude at which temperature becomes constant with increasing altitude, which is an important factor in performance and fuel calculations. Yes, sir. Right out of the book, man. Right out of the book. You should connect. Okay. I will reconnect to VATSIM. Isn't it kind of frowned upon, though, to connect in flight? But we'll see. We're back online, connecting. Hopefully everything is okay. We still have our squawk code, and we're still on altitude. What we will do is we will set up Unicom freak, since I don't believe there's anybody out here. So 12280. We'll swap over to that 22.8 for Unicom. And if we get tagged by center, we'll hop over. Miami Center just hopped online, so maybe we will get pinged here. But we do have our squawk code still. We had power issues. I'm not trying to troll. You don't want to do that, though. You don't want to, like, you know, just take off, and so you don't have to talk to ATC and then connect to VATSIM. So don't do that. But, I mean, we had legit power issues there for a little bit, so we still have a squawk. Everything's good. Look at this shot right here. My goodness. Should we do this side? Beautiful. Neil says when I reconnect, I check the online map first. I probably should have done that. Andre says it's only frowned upon when you do it to avoid traffic. A narrow-body pilot will probably float the 350 a lot in the same way a 350 pilot will smash the 320 into the ground. We'll find out, man. We'll find out. So that's one thing I got to look up. I know they have a pretty good manual on this airplane here in the cockpit. We'll take a look and see if we can look up some landing techniques or landing law, if we can find anything there. Selb says it's all good as long as you don't connect in the middle of a busy event. Everyone's happy. Good deal, good deal. Jeremy Harvey, you're jinxing me here. With the way things are going, just watch you have an engine failure on approach. Good luck. Oh, man, that's all I need, right? Cancun seems to be one of the destinations that we do get cursed going into. We've had a lot of issues. Dimitri says, I can't wait for the flare time. Why is that, Dimitri? Is it that bad? Am I going to be that disappointed? Or am I just not going to know what's going to happen? I'm going to absolutely just screw it up. Benny says, V1, yesterday we had an emergency landing because the plane hit a goose on engine 2 in the climb. All the intake of the engine was damaged big time. Really? Man, Benny, that's insane. Glad everyone's okay. Oh, he's going to be on the 550 CRJ. Okay. Aaron says it hand flies pretty nicely. Just remember when you're sitting a lot higher on the flight deck than the TOLA, so the flare can feel a little bit weird. Absolutely. Max, you're going to use FS 2020 for flow familiarization. Dude, that's nothing wrong with that. You know what? I used FS Labs absolutely for staying current, training, back in the FSX days. Look, I got disconnected again there. Maybe it's my VATSIM. I don't know what's up with that. I just dropped off again. Kind of like that shot, looking down at that beautiful ortho down there. Dimitri says the flare logic is very shoddy. All right. I will have to check it out. Don't get your hopes up with FlightFactor. They only make 75% of a plane. I agree with you there. Captain K coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, man, for that donation. I appreciate it. He says, kill the power at 30 feet on the Jip Whiz. Works every time. All right, Captain K. I'll try my best, my friend. Thank you so much for your support on the channel. Good thing we got a nice long runway down there in Cancun. I'll be headed to Cancun here in a couple days in real life, too, so that'll be... This is good warm-up practice, right? MMUN is set. This is my problem. So I picked up overtime, an overtime trip in real life. So, like, oh yeah, I get overtime. But now that I have overtime, I kind of want to drop my normal time. So then it would... It's counterintuitive, right? Why pick up extra work if you're just going to drop work and at the same paycheck? So I'm kind of dealing with that decision. Like, man, I could just drop a trip to Cancun and do some more flight simming with you guys. All right, so a couple of guys asked now. I'm going to go ahead. We'll get through it. It says, was thinking of purchasing this thing. Any advice? All right, so let me give you my, so far, my honest opinion on this airplane. And I'm going to just say off the bat, I don't want to offend anybody that really loves this airplane. This is purely my opinion, and I have very little experience in this specific airplane. I've already said, I've disclosed that's my second flight in the airplane. We had a debacle at the gate due to me improperly loading the aircraft, so I'm not blaming the airplane for that. But I'm going to try to give you my unbiased opinion so far and what I feel of this airplane. So let's start in the cockpit. We're going to go back up to the cockpit. And before we start going into the actual physical airplane, let's first talk about the price and the sounds that come with it. That's something we can't see. It's just something we hear and we have to pay. So the airplane is $60-something on the org store, which when I look at an add-on that's going to be $60+, I expect to be buying an airplane that is complete, number one, unless it happens to be, you know, maybe it's an early release version and they exclusively state that and they tell you what's not implemented yet, and this is basically just a way to get more testing for the airplane. I'm not saying I support that way of doing business, but I understand if that's the thing. You know, let's say you have a brand new airplane that's coming out and they say, hey, we're going to release it early, kind of like how the FlightFactor 320 released early with nothing working, you know, although that was for $100, which is a wholly different topic. But for $60, I expect the airplane to be pretty much completed, right? I want to have a good sound pack. I want to have a very functioning... I'm having issues with that sim. It keeps dropping off on me. I want to have a good sound pack, and I want to have good functionality with the switches, the flight planning, all that stuff. And for $60, it better be the best looking, better be top notch, right? When I say texture wise or modeling wise. Let's talk about some other airplanes that I think are top notch with the texturing and exterior. Rotate MD-80, one of the oldest add-ons for X-Plane, and I think it is one of the best textured airplanes in the sim. So you can't tell me that, oh, it's a sim limitation or blah, blah, blah. The Rotate MD-80, if you do a window view and you extend those flaps, I literally feel like I'm sitting at the window of an MD-80 looking out at the wing textures. And that's an old airplane. So don't give me the excuse of it's a limitation in the sim. I want good texture. So the Rotate MD-80, yeah, my VATSIM is acting up. So I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect, guys. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why it keeps dropping. FlyJ Sim stuff, I think it's pretty darn good. I think some of their wings could be a little bit better, but honestly, for the most part, it's a really good airplane. It's really clean. A little bit of clipping issues with the slats. Really clean airplane, though. The Tolis 321, I think, has got a pretty clean wing. I know the 319, when it first came out, it had its issues, right, with texturing. It didn't look very good. It was kind of... It was behind in what I expected for that price, and I voiced my opinions in that FlightFactor versus Tolis comparison video. But I think that 321 now with the Neo, I think the wing textures are pretty solid. I think the exterior texturing is really good. And of course now, most recently, we have the INI A300, which is absolutely fantastic. And we have you look at small jets, that Phenom 300, which I think is one of the best external modeled airplanes we have in the sim. It just looks so good. It looks so real. It looks so clean, crisp. It doesn't look flat. It looks three-dimensional in all aspects. So those are just some examples. Here we are, A350, $60. I want to see... Oh, you know what's happening? I think I just had a Windows update. Are you kidding me? Wow, my Windows literally just updated itself. Okay. So I get in the airplane. I look around the cockpit. I'm okay with this overhead panel. I think it's pretty good. I don't really see any issues with the overhead. I think it looks pretty clean. I'm not really disappointed with the overhead. This kind of looks a little dirty. I wish there was, you know, some more mapping. I don't know. I'm not a texture person, but I just think it looks a little bit lacking, in my opinion. The screens look nice. Overall, the cockpit looks nice. Throttles are pretty weak. This whole thing looks pretty weak. This is kind of weak over here, but it's not. I'm not upset with it. You know, I can handle it. This, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know if this is supposed to be a speaker. It may look like this in the real airplane. Maybe you guys know. I don't know if this is what it looks like in the real airplane, but to me, this looks like somebody just took a 12-gauge shotgun and put a hole right here and peppered it. I think this is supposed to be a speaker. Maybe it looks like that in real life. I don't know. But I can deal with that. Let's go ahead into the cabin. Let's take a look in the cabin here. Cabin is pretty, I mean, you got, it's pretty standard across for the price point. You got really good, you know, I wouldn't say really good, but you have detail. You got the lavs modeled. You got the cabin configurations modeled. It's not the best. You compare this to the Zebo mod. The Zebo blows this out of the water, which is a free mod, so I keep that in mind. But, I mean, you have a lot of little extra stuff here. You got a little bar up here. That's cool. I mean, I'm okay with this. You know, it's not the best cabin in X-Plane, but at least they modeled it, and it's, you know, it's not a frame hog. I'm getting pretty decent performance. This is my big problem, guys. You know I love my wing views, and I touched on this a little bit at the gate. This wing is just unacceptable, in my opinion, for a $60+ airplane. I mean, to me, it looks like it's pretty much straight out of FS9. The flaps, the trailing edge of the flaps here look paper thin. You got a nice little reflection off here, but it's just it's not very clean. It looks lacking. So I was really disappointed with the wing views. I mean, you got some pylon modeling issues here. It's just not very clean. So for $60-something, the external wing textures, man. The aircraft itself is okay. Cockpit itself is okay. So, all right, we'll keep moving on. So there's my textures. Not the best. As far as the airplane functionality, I will say I'm pretty impressed with how snappy everything is. It has definitely, you know, there's no lag. Everything seems to work. I do think, like, let's see here. You got a nice user's guide in here. What was I trying to say? Oh, if I go to airplane, nope, it's on the OIS down here. And I think it's in the real airplane too. You don't click on F, or you click on FS. I was clicking over here. I was clicking these arrows to try to drop down. That's just on me. But I mean, I'm pretty impressed with how everything works here. It's pretty clean. None of the ATC comm is functionable. Or functionable. That's the name. Is functioning. Functional. Sergey, coming in $10. Thank you so much. That's a speaker. Just Googled a real photo and it's like that. Weird. Okay. Well, then I stand corrected, Sergey. Thank you so much for the $10 donation, man. I appreciate it. So apparently that is a speaker and it does look like that. So I stand corrected, but in my opinion, it still looks like somebody fired a shotgun shell through the floor here. But I guess that is the speaker, and that's what it looks like. And that's what it looks like in real life. So I stand corrected. But I am impressed. I am impressed with how everything is pretty linked and how you can switch the OIS to center. You could switch the display cycle. You could flip-flop these screens around. The checklist is very thorough. You can step through all of it. Like here, let's go to the cruise. Altitude cruise on FMS, check. ECAM memo check and all that, and then you mark complete. You can step through it. I mean, I'm impressed with this. I mean, I think this is living up to a $60 price tag as far as the functionality of the FMS system, the screens. I really don't have a problem with it. Now, a lot of the stuff seems to be kind of, oh, this is cool. We got our backup, FCU backup in here. We did our serve page thing. You know, none of the, it'd be cool if this came eventually. Connection status like the uplink, ATC comm, requesting that was CPDLC stuff. I think that'd be cool to have eventually. But I'm not disappointed with how it works, you know, with the way it works when you're loading up the airplane. I just have to have more time in learning how to load it up. Neil says, how big is the speaker? 12 gauge. Yeah, I mean, if it looks like that, it looks like that. Maybe that's how Airbus was like, hey, you know what, we got to put a hole in this panel here so we could have the sound come through the speaker. You know, let's go ahead and just blast it with a shotgun instead of taking a drill. Or maybe some dude was just down here with a drill, like, just making holes in it. Said, nope, we still need more holes. And they just put a bunch of holes in the panel. So if that's what it looks like, I'm not knocking them. Cool. They simulated it correctly. So the airplane has a lot of depth to it as far as, you know, getting your screens manipulated here. You've got your weather, your constraints, which we can all mess with here. So I can turn constraints off. I'm going to turn weather on. You got your terrain and traffic. I can turn terrain on. I'm sure it blocks it at like 300 miles, that blue box. Yeah, that's fine. But okay, so that looks pretty good. So from a internal standpoint, airways load properly, SIDS and stars load properly, the VNAV seems to work properly. I think it's okay. I actually think it's okay. So with that being said, the sounds, the default sounds that the airplane comes with are atrocious. I think the sounds itself, I mean, they should take whatever the Mango price tag is and include that in the package and then just take that off of the total price tag. It should be like a $50 airplane with the Mango sounds included, because the default sounds, it made me want to Alt F4 as soon as I started messing around with it. But then I went past that and I started playing around with the cockpit and the FMS, and I was like, okay, there's more to this airplane here. Don't judge the book by its cover. And at the end of the day, this is my final takeaway on this airplane. And I said this with the FlightFactor 757. I said it with the FlightFactor 767. The FlightFactor products, and I'm speaking 757, 767, and A350. To me, it seems like it's just lipstick on a pig. Okay, we can put as much lipstick on a pig as you want. At the end of the day, it's still a pig. This airplane, like the 7.5 and 7.6, don't feel, and they aren't native to X-Plane, right? Like they weren't developed for X-Plane in X-Plane. Think of the INI A300. Think of that cockpit. Think how awesome that cockpit looks and the sounds that come out of the gate. So that's my expectation when I start paying for airliner products in that $60 price point. So I'm not bashing this airplane. I don't feel like it belongs in X-Plane. It feels like I'm flying something that was made in FSX and it's been ported and they're trying to fix it and add features to it and add features to it to make it nice in X-Plane 11. That's what it feels like. But that's just my opinion. I know there'll be a lot of people that disagree with that opinion, and that's fine. But as Q8 said at the beginning of this video, this airplane doesn't even get the Q8 pilot seal of approval. And I would totally agree with that. There's just, this airplane just, it still seems to be like it's not immersive to me. I don't get immersed. Christian says some of the FlightFactor planes are just ports from X-Plane 10. There you go. So maybe, and I don't know the background of this airplane at all. I mean, you guys wanted to see it, so and I was like, okay, let's get to it. I don't know if this airplane was originally in X-Plane 10 and it's been worked to fit in X-Plane 11. That to me seems like it would be the case because it kind of gives me that feel. And somebody mentioned it at the gate when we were programming the FMS. Somebody said that this airplane, I think it was Giuliandi, he said, is it just me or does this airplane not immerse you like the narrow-body aircraft do? And when I get in even the FlightFactor 320, I think the FlightFactor 320 is a great airplane. I think the Tolless Airbuses are great airplanes. When I'm sitting there in the cockpit programming the McDo and the Tolless and the FlightFactor narrow-body Airbuses, I feel immersed. I got sounds, and yeah, we have add-on sound packs to those as well, so it is what it is. But I feel immersed. The cockpits feel good. The switches feel good. The wings look good. This airplane, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't grab my immersion tinglers, I guess. Gustavo says lipstick on a pig is the polite way of a polished turd. But that's really all I'm trying to say is it doesn't seem like it was made for X-Plane 11. It seems like look at this leading edge here. Like, I don't like saying negative comments about this because I know there is somebody that has worked really hard to make this look like this. And I'm telling you right off the bat, I could never do this. I don't have the talent or the ability to do this. But when I pay for a product at a certain price point in the simulator, I expect a certain return on that price that I'm paying. So this just doesn't meet my personal standards. Now, I will say right here, like from this point on, this actually looks pretty good. This looks pretty good right here. But this whole part is just not. And this pylon is blah. The engine looks blah. Carta's engines blow these engines out of the water. Carta is a free mod supporter who's put out the realistic engine mods. They blow this engine out of the frickin' water. So that's all I'm saying is like it just doesn't feel like it belongs, like it's made for X-Plane 11. And it feels like they keep trying to make it for X-Plane 11 when, in my opinion, it probably should have just been scratched and started new from the beginning. But I don't, that's just my opinion. So I hope I don't offend anybody. I'm actually really impressed, and I said it, I've been impressed with how the FMS works, with the programming of the flight plan and the initialization, although I don't know how to do it. That's just lack of time and lack of experience. But I'm impressed with it. And for what I gather, Tolis does most of this, and it even says Tolis, Captain Left McDo, and I like Tolis stuff, man. You know I love their narrow-body Airbuses. I'm very impressed with the guts of this airplane, but it's almost like, so the guts are good, but everything else is bleh, you know? There we go. Aaron says, would you consider it to be a member of the Fun Factor group of add-ons? Absolutely, Aaron. So we lack wide-body aircraft in this platform. This is definitely one that I would put in the Fun Factor version. I would kind of put this in there with that JAR 330, right? It's fun to fly. We need a wide-body Airbus. I personally think the 350 in real life is amazing. It's an amazing airplane. I think it looks awesome. If I had to pick one wide body to fly for the rest of my career, I'd pick the A350. And so it's not the plane that I'm against. It's just here in the sim, I'm like, I just doesn't feel like it's a native X-Plane 11 aircraft. But that's all I got to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. I find the performance of the FlightFactor 320 to be unacceptable, but if anyone likes it, as do many other people, of course, there you go. See, we all have our own opinions. And are you talking about performance as in, like, the flight or the FPS performance? I know it is pretty rough on some people's systems, that FlightFactor 320. Jack says, I think if you really love the 350, then it will scratch that itch. And Jack, I agree with you, man. You know, I actually will probably fly this airplane a couple more times on stream. We'll probably do some longer hauls, maybe even for the next tour that we do at 20K subs. We may even take this airplane on a long haul. So I'm not bashing it completely. I'm just saying, you know, for the price, I'm giving you my honest opinions of how I feel about this airplane. Oh, FPS-wise, Aaron. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for some people, the FlightFactor 320, it just absolutely bricks their system. I was fortunate that it wasn't really effective on my system, FPS-wise, but I know a lot of people had issues with it. Gustavo, there we go, man. I like how Gustavo said here. He goes, so it's a turd. It's shiny, yes, but still a turd. And currently, as a software developer, they have a very good piece of software wrapped in a shiny turd. There you go, Gustavo. There you go. That's awesome. That's a great way to put it, man. That's a great way to put that. I've been flying the FlightFactor 7.5 a lot lately, and I've been really enjoying it, but some textures really lack. Ricky, yes, sir. You know, I've been waiting as soon as Carta drops the Rolls-Royce 757 engines. I've had an itch, and I mentioned it in the Discord too. I really just want to fly an old America West. I know there's a good America West livery on the 757. I've got an itch to fly the 7.5. I've got an itch to fly that America West livery, but I want to do it with Carta's engine, so I'm just kind of waiting for that, and we'll be back in the 7.5. I love the 7.5 as a real airplane too. You know, it's just the FlightFactor 7.5, 7.6, in my opinion, would rank below this 350. I think the 7.5, 7.6 that we have in X-Plane are, I don't want to say unacceptable, but they're not up to the X-Plane 11 standards that they should be at. But because I love the 7.5, I don't really care too much about the 7.6, but I love the 7.5 in real life. It scratches the itch for me here in X-Plane. And especially when Carta drops his engine mods for the 7.5, you'll be seeing it on my channel here. Definitely be seeing it on my channel a couple times. Let's do a flyby shot here. Nice little crosswind out there today. Simon says the biggest disappointment is the FlightFactor 777. No updates have been made to it in years. Yeah, Simon, I am staying away from that airplane. Benny says, Captain Canada says the FlightFactor 320 feels like a brick when you're flying the plane. I don't think I would, I don't know if I agree with that, feel like a brick. I don't know if he's talking about just like hand flying it around the pattern or just in general. I think the FlightFactor 320 flies okay. I don't think it's the best. I think the best representation of a real-world Airbus flight dynamics-wise in X-plane is the TOLUS 321. That airplane, to me, is most closely representative of the real thing. More so than even TOLUS's 319 of the real 319 and of the FlightFactor 320 of a real 320. I think that TOLUS 321, they really dialed it in. I enjoy that airplane quite a bit. Gustavo says, my brother before COVID was flying the 350, by his words, best plane he has ever flown. Now that, I believe that, man. I mean, I think the 350, and just seeing them on the ramp, they're just awesome airplanes. And I don't know if I would do it if I even had the opportunity, because you get into wide body, long haul stuff, it's a different lifestyle. I'm pretty happy with mine right now, but if I could, if they said, oh, same exact schedule, same exact lifestyle, just pick a wide-body airplane, yeah, I'd pick the 350. Christian says, I don't mind flying the Phenom right now for a while. Yeah, the Phenom, man, for $40, that airplane is the most feature-complete, sharpest textures, fantastic sounds, awesome little add-ons and extras, such as the fuel panel, the externals, the chocks, the GPU panel, all the little things that just make that airplane worth every penny, in my opinion. A study level classic Queen like the 74200, ooh, that would be a lot of fun. Does the 350 automatically descend if cabin depressurization occurs and pilots become incapacitated? I don't know about that. That'd be a question for Gustavo. I do not know about that, man. That'd be interesting if it would descend like right down to the MEA or something. James says stay away from the Magnite 7.8. Yep, I'm staying away from that. Staying away from that. Ranger says the FlightFactor pricing is what turned me away. After I got the 7.5, I wasn't really interested to go further with how much I was paying for what I got. Yeah, I agree with you there, man. Yeah, the Zulu time is going to be incorrect there on the top of the screen. It's looking at sim time, so I'm off. Because I started the stream a little bit earlier. I didn't want to start it right in the middle of the day. I like that sun rising. That's why that Zulu time off. That Zulu time is off up there. I apologize. Rex says the Magnite is actually very good. They have weekly updates. The only reason it's so good because they're still making it better and realizing the new FMS soon. Well, there you go. See, I don't have a problem. I know a lot of people do, but I don't really have a problem with an airplane that comes out and it's still in development and there's constant updates to the airplane. Then, okay, I mean, like, you just look at the fly-by-wire 320. I know it's a free mod, but that base 320 we had in FS 2020 was pretty terrible, and now almost daily or weekly at the very least, or at the very most, rather, there's updates coming out for it, and the airplane is getting better and better. Why are we turning so much? Oh, we're just over the Seagar intersection. That looks good. So I don't have a problem with airplanes getting better and better. How's the flight going so far, Nathan? It's going pretty good, man. We definitely had some technical or pilot-induced loading errors at the gate, which was pretty hysterical. We stood it on its tail, so we're okay. At least the cabin is still pressurized. We didn't damage the bulkhead. We had a little bit of connectivity issues with VATSIM. Pretty sure we took a lightning strike here at the house, or at least close by to the house. It seems, I'm tracking the weather on my phone. It looks like it's pretty much moved out away from us now, so I think we're going to be okay for the rest of the stream. But it just seems like Cancun, man, there's never a dull moment. Whenever I try to fly to or from Cancun on stream, something is always going to happen. I don't know what it is. It's just, we've always had issues. I can't wait for the 8X. You and me both, man. The 8X, I we'll probably fly the 8X for a week straight. No lie. We'll probably do 5 streams in a row. Hell, I might even call off work so I can stay home and fly the Falcon 8X. I mean, I am pumped for that airplane. Don't forget the FlyJSim Q400. I am also eagerly awaiting the FlyJSim Q400, Taylor. Absolutely. Deep and Mental, he says, I've been close to taking the plunge for the JAR 330 a couple of times, and then I see one of y'all flying them and I cool down. D, I would say that the JAR is definitely a fun airplane category. It's just one you just fly for fun. You don't fly it for realism. You don't fly it to have systems knowledge and systems depth. You just fly it to scratch the itch to fly a wide-body Airbus. That's it. You're going to need a sound pack as well, and even the sound packs out there aren't the best for it. So that to me is just such a hit to a product. If something comes out, and I don't care if it's a really good airplane, model-wise, flight dynamic-wise, but if the sounds are garbage, it just really ruins the immersion for me. And it just makes me upset, because especially if there's no, decent sound pack available, you have this good airplane that essentially you can't get engrossed in because it sounds like you're flying a toaster around. So when an airplane doesn't have a good sound pack, it's a real big hit for me. What's your VATSIM call sign? I'm actually off of VATSIM right now. We were Delta 357 heavy, but I think something's going on with my internet, man, or at least my VATSIM on my end, because it was disconnect, connect, disconnect, connect. So I killed it for now. Wow, the Raccoon will go down when depressurization happens, says Gustavo. So yeah, that's pretty incredible. The 350, if you have a depressurization, will auto start a descent. That is pretty incredible, man. Leo says FlightFactor can't take constructive criticism. I hopped into their Discord and made a complaint about the 7.5 and modeling. They just nothing but delete my comment. Leo, I've struggled with the FlightFactor people for years at this point. They actually banned me from the X-Plane forums. They got me banned a couple times, suspended my account, because when the airplane first dropped, I knew it was a beta product. I knew it wasn't going to be feature complete, but there were things that they said were complete in the description of the aircraft that were just blatantly incorrect and blatantly wrong. So I actually took a decent amount of time out of my day, wrote up a nice report. I took screenshots and I said, this is what it's doing, this is what it should do. And I wasn't mean. I just said, hey, this is not correct. And it was, at the time, the first study level Airbus we were going to have in X-Plane, so I was really excited about it. I bought that airplane as soon as it dropped. I was sitting in a crew room, actually. I was sitting in Indianapolis, I believe, and I bought that airplane at 1 o'clock in the morning when it released, and I was excited for it. So when I noticed a bunch of stuff was wrong, I wasn't mad per se. I just said, okay, well, let me point out these issues so they can get them fixed. And it just went down a rabbit hole. And I ended up getting messages from the guy who runs the forums on X-Plane. It's like, you're harassing all these people. I'm like, how is it harassment? It's a support forum, and I'm offering support because what you guys have modeled is blatantly incorrect here. And the funniest thing about all of it is, after the dust settled, they ended up fixing 90% of the stuff that I showed them was incorrect. So whether it was because I showed them or because they just knew it, or they blatantly lied about it at the release and then I called them out on it and they were trying to silence it, whatever it was, it just wasn't the way to do things. So I look at, you look at a company like Tolis, for example, where that airplane comes out, and I make some comments on the support forum, and actually, no, that wasn't it. What I had done is I made a video, and I posted a video kind of comparing the aircraft, the FlightFactor and the 320, and it was removed from the Tolis forum. And I thought that was interesting, so I posted it again, and it was removed, and I got a message from the lead developer over there at Tolis. Says, hey, man, I saw your video. Thank you for pointing out this information here. We don't want any FlightFactor stuff in our forum, because I was comparing it actively to the FlightFactor and kind of showing the difference about stuff. And I was like, okay, I can respect that. They don't want FlightFactor stuff, a competitor or whatever it is in their forum side. So, okay. But literally, the developers over there at Toga said, okay, but I've noted your problems. How can we fix them? And it started a relationship with Tolis that was like, okay, that's cool. And then here's the beta version we're releasing. How does this fly? Is this what you expect the real airplane? Is this what the real airplane does? Or, okay, thank you for pointing this out. And it became a relationship to the point where I'm like, okay, these guys they want to make a good product and they're not afraid to make a good product. So that's the difference. And I think that's the way it should be handled. Triple Seven says, blame it on Australia, always late. No worries, man. No worries. Toga says that it will also come standard now. This is interesting. I want to read this. So the 350-1000 comes standard with the AED, Automated Emergency Descent, to automatically descent in the event of a cabin depressurization, and it will even sidestep from the airway. That is pretty incredible, man. That is incredible. Golden State says, I haven't even tried that FlightFactor. INI and Tolis have incredible support. Absolutely. And that's what you're paying for, too. When you buy a product, you're looking for support, right? Because what if something doesn't work on your system? Or what if you have issues? And Tolis is right there. Very active dev group. I mean, I really have nothing bad, and even if I had something bad to say, I wouldn't say it, because I was always raised that if you have something bad to say or about somebody, that you don't say it publicly anyway, unless you can work on it one-on-one with them. But I honestly have nothing bad to say about Tolis. I mean, when the airplane first came out, I didn't think it was up to standards necessarily. I made it clear, and Totemek came out, made a mod, and then they were like, hey, let's incorporate this mod and make it part of the airplane. Like, that's a no-brainer. Okay, boom. Which is the international terminal at Cancun. So, let's go here to Cancun. We're going to be parking... You know what? I know there's one on the west side. So, lately I've been seeing the wide bodies. Here, I'll show you here. I've been seeing the wide bodies park over here at Terminal 4. They'll either park at Terminal 1 or Terminal 4, but I have seen quite a few wide bodies over here at Terminal 4. Matter of fact, I've seen some 350s over here at Terminal 4. But I do know that American will run a 777 down here, Terminal 3. But anything from the U.S. is technically international, right? So you're going to be going through customs. Both Terminal 3 and Terminal 4 are equipped to handle customs. Terminal 2 is their local, so all the inter-Mexico stuff, that's all going to be going Terminal 2. So either park at Terminal 3 or Terminal 4. I'm probably going to park us here at Terminal 3. I'll probably take us to Terminal 3, and I'll park us here at B4. I'll try to reconnect to VATSEM here in a minute so we could at least see everybody landing. Andre says, I remember them claiming you weren't a real pilot on some of those posts. Yeah, it was. It was comical, man. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, well, one guy, I'm trying to remember, there was one post I made. It was something about like the fly by the alternate law or something like that. I don't know. And then he came back. He said, how are you even a real pilot? Look at this example. And I said, that is, number one, that's in the sim. And number two, it's a different flight law than what we were discussing. So it literally comparing apples to oranges here. And yeah, he's like, oh, you're not even a real pilot, or yeah, it got ugly, man. XP72, what's going on, man? Good to see you here. Happy to see you in the 350. So you like it? Well, XP, I did a tail stand at the gate, or a tail strike at the gate rather. We were loading it up. Everything was going really smooth, actually. You know, I got the initialization done, I got the cockpit set up, and then I got to the loading of the fuel and the passengers, and it just went downhill quickly, and we ended up putting her on her tail there at the gate. Did a quick reset. We stumbled through it, found out where the perf calculator was, and we got our V-speeds locked in, and we got her going. So I just did about a 10-minute spiel on how I feel about the airplane. In short, though, XP, I classify this airplane how you like to say it is a fun factor of airplanes. Like you got airplanes that are fun to fly, and then you have airplanes that you fly for systems depth and study level simulation. This one I kind of put in that same realm of like the JAR 330, where it's fun. It's got some good core stuff. You know, I really like the flight planning, and the screens are pretty snappy. They're not really buggy with the way you load stuff. But it kind of ends there. The external texturing of the wings and some of the cockpit textures are just kind of meh. But I do enjoy it. I think it's fun. As a fan of the 350 in real life, you know, it does, as somebody said in chat, you know, it scratches that itch for me. You know, I enjoy flying it here on the sim. Would I recommend spending $60 on it? Probably not. But as far, if you really want to fly a 350, if you really love the 350, it'll be fun for you to fly. Leo, how was that disrespectful? How are you even a real pilot? Yeah, it was. I get that from time to time. From time to time it happens. But yeah, I got a kick out of the Reddit thread somebody posted this, like, I guess somebody saw one of my videos. That's why I made that joke when we did the lineup on the runway there. And this guy's main point was, how is this guy even a real pilot, because he can't even line up on the runway? I'm like, well, number one, if you saw my rudder pedals, you would understand. Number two, even if I'm not using my rudder pedals, I'm using a yoke as the tiller, which is completely different than real life. So, whatever. But yeah, I did an amazing 350 lineup. I think that's the highlight of the stream so far, was my cinematic lineup on the runway. Damn near perfect. Tail strike at the gate is normal with the 350, unfortunately. Man, they need to get a tail stand. See, so if that's what's going to happen, then FlightFactor needs to implement a little tail stand function where the ground connections put a tail stand back here, so if you do mess up the loading, it won't go all the way back on its tail. That's another flyby shot here. I am using the FT Sim sounds. I don't know if Jeremy, if you're still around, but what do you think of the sounds? I know you're pretty critical of sounds like I am. XP, what sound mod do you use? I believe there's Mango, and then there's FT Sim. So I might try Mango next, but I'm rocking the FT Sim sounds right now. I'm not terribly disappointed with them. I think engine start is lacking. Could have been a little bit better. The Toga Takeoff was pretty good. Toga Takeoff sound was pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. Do a systems check here. Everything looks good. Our temperatures are pretty good, right? Yeah. All right, let's go back in here. Let's hang out. Let's see what else is modeled here. On board the 350-XWB. Do we have a lavatory? No lavatory model. Nope. F's in chat for no lavatory. Nope. Was this a crew rest area or something? Look at this. Little crew rest area. All right. Take a nap here. Too bad the screen doesn't work. Benny coming in with a $5 donation. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. He says, V1, what's the point to have several engines for Airbus? Which characteristic companies used to pick the type of engines they want? Which characteristic companies use to pick type of... So you're asking what determines what engines they want? That's a good question. I don't have an affirmative answer for you because I'm obviously not working that side of things as a line pilot. But I would imagine, number one, it has to do with maintenance, right? So if you already have, let's say you started an airline and you got your first order of Airbuses with CFM engines, God forbid. So if you got a bunch of CFM motors, if you're going to add to your fleet, it really cuts down on maintenance cost to just keep everything the same, right? Because you have all the CFM parts already. There's no need to get IAE engines. They do the same thing. Now, if you end up with a mixed fleet, which engines do you prefer? You're really splitting hairs at that point, because even though I'm a huge IAE engine fan, you know, the CFM does the same job. The Airbus will do the same thing. There's probably some very minor differences, maybe the climates that they operate in. I'm not even 100% sure. what would determine the, you know, a difference like that other than maintenance or what's readily available for you. So you could have a company where you're starting to, you know, you started a company with all your Airbuses, they're all CFM motors, and you've just been buying Airbuses with CFM motors, but then all of a sudden the availability comes up that, hey, you can get 20 more airplanes from this airline that just went under, but they're IAE engines. And they're like, well, this is too good of a deal to pass up. Let's just pick up those Airbuses with the IAE engines, and then we'll deal with the maintenance costs down the line. So I think that's kind of how fleets end up getting mixed. I don't think they purposely buy, oh, I want 20 Airbuses and I want 10 of IAE engines and I want 10 of CFM. Now, when you talk about the Neo, same thing. Now, all orders now, a lot of companies, I should say, are ordering the Neos because the Neo is the future for the narrow-body Airbus. You're going to see a lot of Neo airplanes just start to replace all the standard or the current engine options. But the same thing applies. You know, do you want the Pratts versus the CFMs? Somebody in upper management is definitely going to make that decision for the pilots to fly them. So you just have to do your job, and if you have a fleet that's got mixed and mashed engines, then you just got to watch your books, make sure you're in the right airplane, you're applying the same procedures. Where I work, we do kind of have a hodgepodge of engines. So, and it's for that reason. It's like, oh, they started out all this way and then they got some of these engines. So what happens is you just end up having different sections in your book. So if you have an emergency, you pull up, let's say, your comm procedure for tail number 1 through 50. But if you're in tail number 50 through 57, you have to use this page because it has a different engine on it or a different option. So that's where it gets more complicating, is when you have to go through the book and you have to verify that the tail number that you're sitting in, procedure that you're applying the procedure to. Rafael Rodriguez, welcome to Private Pilot. Welcome aboard, man. Exclamation point, welcome. Glad to have you on the channel, my friend. If you're a Discord user, sync your Discord to your YouTube. You get that V1 After Dark channel in there. Good conversation last night with the guys on the V1 After Dark. It was fun. I was doing a test flight in this airplane last night, so that was fun hanging out with everybody down there. Airbus says IE for the win. You got it, man. Starting to have a little frame drop issue there. Funny detail about the 350, they have a plastic cover after the thrust reverses because Delta had 3 IFSD because of liquid spill. Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that. A little bit of a frame drop there. I wonder what's going on my YouTubes. Just internet issues today, guys. Jeremy says you should have a V1 livery for each airplane you own so you have a complete V1 fleet. Whew. It's a lot of work. You hear that, Jungly? I like doing the V1 fleet stuff, but I also like flying different liveries around too. I think it's kind of fun to mix and match the airlines that we fly on stream. What do I think of the 220 series? I think it's pretty sweet. I think it'd be cool to fly a 220. I've been on a 220 a couple times now. The cockpit is pretty sharp. It is all glass, man. It's about as much glass as you can get. Actually, it's kind of representative of the 350, to be honest. I can see some similarities. But I think the 220 is a cool plane. I like the long ones, the stretch ones. What is it, the 300? All right, I think we are at just past the halfway point. We're going to be starting down soon. So I'm going to step out for the lav break here. We're going to start prepping for the descent. We're going to see how this airplane handles on its way down to Cancun. So let me go ahead and throw on my lav break message here. And just give me about 90 seconds or a minute. Run to the lav, and we will start prepping for our descent into Cancun. What could go wrong? Knock on wood. All right. Go ahead and get you off the screen here. Come back in here. Itlam. All right, so this is what I wanted to change. Let's go ahead and I'll do it from here. Actually, no, you know what? It's much easier to do it from down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you up. We're going to come back up here. And I'm going to change the arrival here. And I believe we want to do the Vomar arrival, or I'm sorry, yeah, Vomar 1 Alpha. Let's take a look here. We'll do it from Nosat. Well, we're actually going out to Vomar and Vixie. We'll fly, yeah, you probably get Nosat, but we'll do it from Vixie. What the heck? Vomar 1 Alpha, ILS DME 4, 1-2 left. So as of a couple months ago, they were doing the 1-2 left again, which is good. Vomar 1 Alpha, Vixie, insert. All right, now let's take a look at our box here. Let's go into plan mode, zoom you down, make sure constraints are on. And we're going to give ourselves a direct to straighten out the line here a little bit. So Passad, Alkeem, Itlam. And then that brings us in. It's a very nicely connected approach here. I'll be doing this flight, this weekend? I gotta check my schedule. But yeah, that looks good. So what I'm gonna do, we'll go back to arc mode, and then I'm gonna straighten out the line here. We're gonna go direct to Vomar. Yep, we're gonna go present position direct to Vomar. So let's scroll this back up here. Ah, these arrows are messing with me. I feel like they're backwards. All right, from present position direct to insert, direct to Vomar, Merida Center, Delta 357 Heavy, proceed direct Vomar. Miss Jungle says, I'll try to get him to work quicker. You know how stubborn he is. I know, he's messing around with all those clouds in DCS. Everyone's loving the clouds in DCS. Dimitri says, I've been an X-Enviro proponent since its first week of release, but this cloud pixelation is a total turnoff. Is this new, Dimitri? Is this pixelation new? I don't remember it being this bad. Is there something I can change in the settings? Because we're over the water, so my frames are pretty good. Maybe I could change something in the settings of X-Enviro, but I feel like it was never this pixelated. Do I think the 319 Neo would eat into the 220's market? Yes, Jeremy, I do. And the thing is, the 220-300, well, you got to understand, what market are you trying to fill here? Now, since we're flying a Delta airplane right now, we'll talk about Delta. Delta has some 220s on property. They're filling a market that's, you know, they have their business class, they have their first class passengers, then they have business class, and then they have the economy class. So you have a 3 configuration airplane. So you got to think, what is the benefit of a 319neo? So what I think a 319neo is going to be the best for is if you ran an all economy class configuration, because the amount of people that you could get in a 319neo would be greater than what you would currently see with most 220s rolling off the line right now with a multi-class configuration. But it all comes down to weight and bags, and if you're going to put that many people on an airplane, how much fuel can you take? Because then that's going to determine, well, what market can that airplane serve? So it's a fine balance, it's a tricky balance, and it's going to vary from airline to airline, because you got to understand, what is the market that airline is trying to serve? Are they having a first class cabin or an economy, all economy class? How do they set it up? Is it beneficial to have a smaller airplane running, you know, because when you have a first class cabin, those first class passengers are pretty much paying for that's where the airline makes its money, is getting the first class passengers on board. So it's kind of a tricky situation, but if all things were equal, and let's just say we're made it simple, all economy class 220 and an economy class 319neo, I do think the 319neo would cut into the 220 market. I really do. But it's just, you really got to look into the business side of things and what each airline is specifically trying to accomplish with their passenger configurations. Because that plays a big role into what airplane you order, is your configuration. That's kind of the big thing when you look at these the budget carriers or the low-cost carriers, when you start looking at the XLR. So the problem with the XLR when you talk about economy configuration is you're getting rid of baggage space. If you want to put in 228 people in a 321 XLR, you need to have room for their bags. Well, the XLR is getting its range because of that fuel tank. You're getting rid of bag space because you're taking that, what was baggage space, putting a fuel tank there, or resupporting the floor, whatever it is. You're reducing that baggage space. So now it doesn't even make sense for an all-economy class 321 XLR, because you can't take as many people as you want and have their bags on board. So now you look at, okay, well, what can I get? Oh, 320neo. The 320neo is extremely popular because you can still go very far. It's very efficient, and you can go all economy. You can stuff 180-something bodies in that airplane on an all economy class and all of their bags. So it's the little things that we don't really think about necessarily that make those decisions prevalent for the higher-ups that eventually have to make those decisions of what airplanes to get. So you got to look at that. You got to look at the routes. You know, what are your altitude limitations? If you start going to South America, you got some real high altitude airports down there. Guatemala City, you got some others that are pretty high field elevations, so you got to be careful about that. But I would love to see a 319neo, personally. I would love to see a 319neo. I think it'd be cool. Anthony says that's an incredible Mexican accent. I tried, man. Whenever I try to do an accent, I'm terrible at accents. For some reason, when I try to do an accent, whether it be a Mexican accent or a French accent, I end up starting to talk like a redneck country boy. I don't know where it is. Maybe that's my core. I don't know, man. But it's hard to shake that. E195 is still better? Oh, no. 220 versus 195, both exceptionally efficient and advanced aircraft. I agree. The E195 is proven, so you got that going for the E195. V2 with the raked wingtips does look amazing, Toga. I agree with you there, man. Rashid says, I think, if anything, the 220 has eaten to the 319s market. That's a fact. You could look at it that way. I would agree with that. All right, so we got our approach in there that we loaded up. We're going present position direct VOMAR. Let's finish this up. So we'll get a descend via VOMAR. We're going to VIXI, which will be at 4,000 feet. And then we're going to set up for the ILS DME4 12 right. So approach, I'm sorry, 12 left. ILS DME4 12 left. That's what I have, right? I do have the left side. Yep, 12 left. Okay, good. So we have final approach with 125. We'll get our LS push buttons on. What's kind of neat too with this is you can have the bird, like a fake bird over here. But that's just confusing to me to see flight director bars and the bird. But that's an FMS2 thing. That's coming to the Airbus narrowbody right now. This bird displayed up here with your crosshair. That's going to become an FMS2 if I'm not mistaken. Vertical profile, FMS2, that'll be coming as well. What was that noise? Who was in there? Who's in there? My dog just escaped into the attic. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. We're having a beagle issue. Has just ran into my attic because the door was open, and I don't want him to fall through the floor here. So give me a second. Oh my gosh, we got him. All right, crisis averted. I had to lure him out with a piece of turkey. Oh gosh. Now we've got children in the cockpit. Everything's falling apart here. Our lives are falling apart. Our pets' heads are falling off. All right, we're back at it. Where was I at? Jeez. Yeah, I didn't want my dog to fall through the freaking attic because you know how you have to walk on the beams if you're going through the attic? And he's obviously just walking on the drywall panels on top of the floor. Ugh. Okay, here we go. Cancun, we're going to get 4,000 is set for the bottom there. And I didn't miss too much there, so we're good. All right, so we're 42,000 feet. We're starting to come down. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to try X-Pilot. Let me load up X-Pilot one more time because I know there was quite a few 350s flying with me. Where is X-Pilot? There you are. And I'm going to try to connect. Let's see what happens here. Center is online. Hopefully everything will be okay. They won't be mad. MMID Center is online. All right. From lightning strikes to beagles in the attics, the fun never ends. I'm telling you, man, these dogs. And we're going to have another kid here soon. Please contact me on 28.2. All right, good. We're back on it. 128.2, 128.200. Back online. Center, good afternoon. Delta 357 Heavy, we're level 420.
Delta 357 Heavy, good evening. Reset your transponder, squawk 2046.
Squawk 2046, Delta 357 Heavy. Squawk is on 2046. It is on. And should be identing, so we should be good there. And we're working 2046, 42,000. He's probably going to be mad because we're going present position direct Vomar, so this will be interesting. Dylan says it happened to my dog once. He actually fell through when I peeked him.
7 Heavy. Good evening, radar contact approximately 145 miles north of Cancun BOR. Maintain flight level 420.
We'll maintain flight level 420, Delta 357 Heavy. And we have a request one, Abel.
Yes, I'll stand by. I'll call you back. Delta 7401, descend via the Bomber. 1 Alpha arrival, QNH is... Oh, I lost it. QNH, sorry, 2984.
Descend Bomar 1 Alpha, arrival Delta 7401, thank you.
And Delta 357, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was just wondering if we were able to file and fly the Vomar 1 Alpha and proceed direct to Vomar.
Delta 357, yeah, affirmative, proceed direct Vomar. Expect the Vomar 1 Alpha arrival for the ILS DME 1 to left approach.
Okay, well, present position direct Vomar for the Vomar 1 Alpha, and we'll maintain flight level 420, expecting the ILS DME 4 1 2 left of Delta 357 Heavy. All right, cool. So he knows where we are. We're on the Vomar. That's set up. That's good. Let's finish the rest of the setup here. We got LS on. That looks good. As far as perf data goes, let me switch this screen again. Let me flop you over here. Makes it a little bit easier. I don't have to go down there. We're going to go to perf. Descent. 290.84 Mach. That should be sporty. We'll see what happens there. Winds down there. Cancun ATIS is available. Winds are 180 at 7, so we'll go ahead and type that in. 180 and then 7 knots. Beautiful morning here in Cancun. Outside air temperature is 30 degrees. Warming up. 30. Go ahead and send the FOs out for the walk around. Anthony says your accent actually sounds like this dude. I'm telling you, man. I've been down here to Cancun enough. I got some of it. QNH 2984. 2984. 2984. Oh, that's hectopascals. Son of a... so, more than one way to skin a cat here. We're going to use a standby 2984, and we'll go hectopascals. That's 1005. So 1005 set. Barrow altitude for this approach is... And this guy's being very realistic. He's not descending me. I'm always high coming into Cancun. Always high. It never fails. 250 for the Barrow altitude. Mins, we got 250 set. Flaps config full. VLS 125. VAP 130. I'm going to give myself an extra 5 knots for float factor. 135 is set. Trans flight level is 19 We're now getting really high on the descent here. Emerita, Delta 357 Heavy, request lower.
Delta 357 Heavy, descend to cross Bomber at flight level 200.
Descend cross Vomar, flight level 200, Delta 357 Heavy. Okay, great. So we're going to go 200, and I'm just going to go straight to open right now because we're getting a little bit high. So I'm going to set 200 blue, thrust idle, open, descent, down we go. We can also set an altitude restriction in there. Let's see what happens here. We'll go back to the flight plan. I've never done it from Vomar. If I click Vomar, constraints, speed, at or below, (2000) set. RTA is not modeled. Okay, flight plan. I don't know if we're gonna make it. I don't think that took. Let's look at our old school McDo here. When in doubt, go to the Airbus McDo here. Vomar. Descent to altitude constraint 200. Oh, 20,000, not 2,000.
Last was calling that was Delta 295, correct?
There we go. There we go. So I got it fixed up. I had a descent speed limit on there. Flight level 200. 200 is blue. We're on the descent. We're coming down. Things are looking good. Let's go ahead and button it up back there.
Correction, 200 33.
FA is still dinging. Let's get rid of that. I can't. Can I? Oh, forward call. What do they want? I don't think you can eliminate the flight attendant with the sound pack. I think it changes those. All right, we're down to flight level 200 for Vomar. A little bit behind the donut. Now, can I reset this? I'll be curious here real quick. Let me see. I'm going to go perf data. Config 3, config full. No, it doesn't reset the TOD. Okay. Didn't think so. Things are looking up. Back to the chat.
Delta 295 Heavy, good evening, radar contact, presumably 190 miles north of Cancun BR, maintain 400.
Toga says, is it correct that if you keep the top P of the bird and at an altitude of 0 on the PFD, it will essentially give you 3-degree glide path? Yes. Use this trick in the fly-by-wire model. Works perfectly on the S. Toga, yes, I've been a proponent of that for a long time. That's why we have the bird emoji on this channel. I always fly the bird whenever I can. It's just a personal preference for me. Some guys rather fly pitch angles on the PFD. That's fine too. But I like the bird. Yeah, put the tail of the bird on the horizon, and that's a 3-degree path coming down, man.
Delta 1366, fly direct to Vomar.
Direct Vomar, Delta 1366.
Mark. Oh, yeah, I love that movie, man. That's for speaker trains. I fixed it. Team Vodka, you're Delta 598. Good stuff, my friend. Dynasty 001 says, I have both you and Flight Deck to Sim streaming simultaneously. Good stuff, man. I feel bad. I mean, I don't check when he streams. I feel like that's a couple times here in a row where I've been streaming and you guys are like, oh yeah, Flight Deck to Sim is streaming too. Like I try not to stream on top of other guys.
401 contact.
But sometimes it's just unavoidable, man, especially with my schedule and kids and dogs and all kinds of stuff going on here. But I feel like it's 3 or 4 streams in a row now where someone's like, oh yeah, Flight Deck to Sim is still streaming at the same time. Sorry, dude. Sorry, Sam. Love Flight Deck to Sim, though. Good dude. It's funny how the pop-out McDo window says Tolas McDo, I know. And actually, if any of you hardcore fans of the channel a long time ago, and Jeremy picked up on this earlier. So, this was one of my gripes when the 319 first came out. Look at this McDo here. This McDo is actually a traditional old school variant of the MCDU in the Airbus aircraft. Nothing wrong with it. You got a brightness knob here. Actually works, which is pretty cool. This is what a lot of the 319s have until they get retrofitted. But when I pop it out, notice the difference? We now have a more modern, or I guess like a Gen 2 MCDU. The brightness is now an actual push button up and down. You have a blank button here. All right, clear to send via Vomar 1 Alpha, Delta 357 Heavy. All right, so we're getting a descend via now. We'll go ahead and set 4,000. Actually, I'm going to leave 200 blue right now. This is where you can really get yourself messed up. I'm going to leave 200 blue because we're coming down for Vomar. And I'm going to hustle down here a little bit. I'm going to go a little spoid brake action here. We're going to go spoid brake out, and my speeds seem to want to come back. We don't want to do that. I'm going to go speed, select speed, 330. That's fine. Let's get some spoid brakes out here. Why can I not? There we go. We'll deploy our spoid brakes. Help us come down, and then we're gonna get a descend via once we cross over Vomar. I removed the 250 at 10,000. Yes, I did, Gustavo, over Vomar. Yeah, he gave me cross Vomar at 200. So Vomar, technically at 280. So we're going to try to get to 280, but I got us at 330 to get us down to flight level 200 first, and then we'll dial that speed straight back to 280 in the selected speed mode. See, we're coming down on it now. We're coming down 6,000 feet a minute. There we go. Altitude is star, so we'll go ahead and should have caught it here. That really grabbed that out star way early because our descent rate was so high. All right, coming back to 280 selected speed. Spoid brakes are still out.
descend to cross bomber at flight level 200. Expect the bomber 1 Alpha arrival and you can resume normal speed.
I will descend and maintain flight level 200 at full
Mark, best part is saying, Lloyd, I took care of it. Oh man, my dad loved that movie too, man. It's funny. All right, stow the spoid brakes. 200. We're outstarred. Now, as soon as I get out of outstar, actually no, we're close enough. I'm gonna go ahead and set 4,000. It's gonna trip to vertical speed. Should get a mode reversion beep there. We didn't get one. There we go. Manage descent. Out constraint start, 200 over Volmar. We're at 280 knots. We're going to maintain 280 all the way down. Epnol, we got to make sure we hit that at 250. But things are looking good now. We've made our PAs. Everything is good. We'll go ahead. It's not 10,000 feet yet. What would you like? This flight attendant keeps calling me. Do I have to turn these on to listen to them? Wait, so I can speak on VHF-1 and the cabin at the same time? That's a good way to do a PA over the radio. I wonder if the announcements still work. I know with the sound pack, I think it deletes some sound files. Let's see if it still does. In use. I don't hear any announcements. I think it might have something to do with the FT-Sim sound pack. Leave me alone. Alright, transition is 19.5. We're well below that. What was our altimeter? 2984. is set once, set twice, and we got the ISIS in hectopascals. So 1005, 2984. All right, Epnel 250 knots. We're looking good. We're 280 selected speed. Things are looking good now. Things are looking good. I have to turn the volume knob up. Oh, Sniper says if you didn't do the PA safety before takeoff, it will bug you to do the rest of the flight. That is annoying. I have to turn the volume knob up. All right. Turn the PA volume volume knob up clockwise.
Delta 1366, be advised traffic to your 2 o'clock, level 360, Boeing 757 is unresponsive. It's probably going to cross bomb at 702. I don't know if he's going to descend.
I will keep an eye out for the traffic, Delta 1366.
Ah, so you have to turn the volume all the way up. I gotcha. All right.
Delta 357 heavy contact and can approach now. 124.7, have a great flight.
124.7, have a good one. Delta 357 heavy. Cancun approach, good morning. Delta 357 heavy, we're 15.6 descending via the Vomar 1 Alpha with the weather in Cancun.
Delta 357 with radar, contact Cancun altimeter 2984, expect ILS 4, runway 12 right. Sorry, 12 left.
Okay, I was going to say. All right, we'll expect the ILS DME 4, 12 left, Delta 357 heavy.
Delta 7401, clear for the ILS
250
4,
at Epno.
Cleared for the ILS 4, 12, let us Delta.
The cloud stuttering is killing you, mid. Yeah, that's Exenviro, man. Exenviro. Dimitri says, at least with the sound pack, no crew members are committing suicide. There you go. What can you say about the cockpit noise level from the 320 A220? I haven't been in a 220 in flight, so I don't know if it's any louder than a 320. Airbus actually isn't that very loud of a cockpit, really. I think the Boeing is a little bit louder, to be honest with you. .321 is super quiet, sitting way up in front of the engines. Oh my gosh.
Oh dear God, leave me alone.
12.9 for... We got 9 magenta, so it's thinking we're going to level here at Epnol probably. The Vixie is at 4, mandatory. Another gotcha coming into Cancun here. You got a couple of mandatory crossings. This 505 will get guys coming in. This is a mandatory at 3,000, so you could be at 4,000. You're cleared for the approach, but technically you still got to meet this 505 at 3,000. Now there is a mandatory here at 529 at 3,000 as well as the 1,400 at 532. However, if you are on glide slope, you'll satisfy these mandatory crossing restrictions here. So there's no need. Some guys will come in, they'll cross 529, then set 1,400, do an open descent. You don't need to do that. You just need to be on glide slope, and it'll automatically get it for you. I'm going to start working the speed back to 250 knots. Okay, that works for me. That'll stop ringing me. We'll go spoid brakes out here. We're going to slow to 250, get below this restriction here. I did not know that I could get Avitab on this piece. I just used the Avitab pop-up. That's pretty cool, though. I don't understand why they made the flight attendant sound like Stephen Hawking. I don't either, man. But that's what I'm talking about. So it's the same exact flight attendant sounds that you have in the 7576. So, you know, little things, right? It should be different. 350, new airplane, should have new flight attendants, but we don't. All right, we're getting ready to go through 10,000 feet. We'll go ahead and turn on the logo lights, Chicks Dig logo lights. Get the rest of our lights on here for operational purposes. 250 on the speed. After Epnol, we're looking good. Vixie is at 4. Out of 10. Flight attendants, prepare for landing. We got him. We got him, CIO. We got him. Possible to check GPU utilization right now with Xenviro. GPU is running at 82%.
Wind is 180 at 7 right.
But my Xenviro clouds look pretty terrible right now. I don't know if that's with the latest updates or what, but all right, so there's our 9,000. We got 4 blue now. We're coming down. One more. I don't think there's any more speed. Oh, there is. 220 at Adler. We do have to hit 220 at Adler. We got our terrain on display there. That looks good. I'm also going to activate and confirm the approach phase. Now, you probably don't do this on the 350, but we'll go ahead and do it just because I don't want it to do anything that I'm not sure what it's doing. So I'm going to take manual control there, just like we do in the narrow body. FMS2, though, that I was talking about earlier, it's coming to the narrow body Airbus. That FMS2 is going to give you your... You can manipulate that decel point. It'll tell you when to extend flaps 1, when to extend flaps 2. Pretty sweet stuff, so be looking forward to that. Disarm those spoid brakes there. All right, about 15 prior. I'm going to go ahead and start walking this back.
Approach, good afternoon, Delta 1366. We're 15 to 1.
Delta 1366, radar contact. Altimeter 2984, expect ILS 4, runway 12 left.
The guy will resuscitate for the next flight, trust me. Yeah, I'd hate the flight attendant sounds they got on this plane. That is the same as a 7576. But I know there's plenty of different add-ons you can do to fix that. Just exclamation point specs, JT, if you want to see the specs of the computer. Exclamation point specs.
Ladies and gentlemen, this time we are making our final approach.
Doing A55, 1.2.
To their full upright knock position.
Now that's a nice cabin announcement. That's an FT sim announcement.
65 better, can't climb, maintain flight level 200 unrestricted.
Level 200 unrestricted, spreading to 65.
Travis Hardman, gotta admit though, the screens are sharp. I agree with you. That's what when I was talking about this airplane, kind of how I feel about it. I think the screens are sharp. They look good. They're snappy. I really have no problems with how any of this works. You know, it doesn't feel glitchy. It doesn't feel buggy. I'm gonna go ahead and get a little spoid breakout here. Just having a hard time coming back to 220. Little spoid breakout. But this wing just it hurts my eyes, man. But yeah, that was a good cabin announcement there by FT Sim. That one was good. There's our 220 speed. Get those spoid brakes back in. 1,000 to go. Now this is an integrated approach here, so it's going to transition us right to the approach for 1-2 left. I no longer really need the terrain mode. It's just kind of distracting. I'm going to turn terrain mode off. I love this Cancun scenery. One of my favorite. I don't know why. It's a really well done scenery. It looks just like the real thing to me, in my opinion. Exclamation point scenery if you want to check it out, which specific one it is. I'm not associated with them by any means, but I do enjoy flying down here because of the scenery. I don't have any ortho around this part of Mexico, unfortunately, but as we get in closer to the airport, it doesn't even really matter. And honestly, this doesn't look all that bad because in real life here, this is just all trees. There's really nothing out here. A few houses here and there. But, I mean, I've probably come in on this arrival probably 100 times in the last 6 months. So, if not 6 months, then, 8 months. But I've been coming down here a lot recently. P2 is already in use, Dimitri. Yeah, at least he's not in the attic, so I'm okay with it. All right, there's Adler. Over to the approach. Vixie, 4,000, mandatory. This mandatory 3,000 at 505 in a 320 can really sneak up on you here. We're speed out star, we're 4,000. And I don't think he's actually cleared us for the approach yet, so we'll verify that we're cleared for the approach before we set that 3,000 foot constraint. He said expect ILS DME 412 left, so we have to maintain 4,000 until we get cleared for the approach. But I'm going to preemptively start slowing down. There is no more speed constraints here. I'm going to come back to 180. These are X-Enviro clouds. Down here they look pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and extend flaps 1 from right here. So same thing with the Airbus, just you get slats with flaps position 1. It is bumpy like this in real life coming in here. And approach just to confirm for Delta 357, are we cleared for the ILS DME 412 left?
Delta 357 heavy, clear for the ILS 4, runway 12 left.
Thank you. Cleared for the ILS DME 412 left, Delta 357 heavy. All right, so we got 3,000 open descent. Here we go. We just crossed our constraint. I'm going to go flaps 2. I like the flap sound. That is a wicked flap extension sound. I like that. 10 for 10 FT on that one for sure. Okay, so we are cleared approach. We're going to go approach mode. Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2. Let me set up this little screen so we can see this when I'm on the approach. Close it and pop it back out. There we go. That way this will be a little bit sharper for you guys. put it right there on the approach. All right, so we're down to 3,000. That's our mandatory. I'm still waiting for my loc and slope to come up here. INCP 110.7. That is set. There's our loc star. There we go. Localizer is alive. Well, not really. It should be, though. There's our localizer alive. So this is where I said, you know, you don't have to dive and drive here after 505 because on glide slope here at 3,000 can satisfy this 1,400 at 432. I hate it when a guy just set 1,400 blue and then we're, 1,400 feet above the ground. We're still 20-something miles away from the airport, so we're 180 knots. We're looking good. Golden State says, I feel like the FT Sim sounds on the 319 are better than the BSS. I actually haven't even tried the BSS sounds on the FT Sim on 319. I have not. Are they similar to that, Golden State? All right, we're looking good. Airport is out there. This is a very accurate weather representation. I feel like I'm always sitting right here at the base of the clouds coming into Cancun. Spotty, puffy clouds like this. No real ortho here, but this is pretty much exactly what it looks like. It's just trees.
Good approach. Good afternoon. Delta 295 heavy on the Vomar 1 Alpha. Passing 14,000.
Delta 295 heavy. Good evening.
First turbofan I flew was a Phenom 300. Which airliner
expect the ILS
would you suggest I learn with?
Expect the ILS.
Well, being an Airbus guy, Scott, I say the 319.
Delta 295 heavy.
319 would be a good place to start. I got plenty of content on my channel for learning the Airbus, learning the 319. I think it's a very user-friendly airplane to learn. If you want to just do something free, though, the Zibo Mod 737 is a free airplane. Very well done as well. So Flight Deck to Sim is going to be your guy on that airplane for sure, though. He's a real-world 7.3 captain. But as far as the Airbus is concerned, if you want to go that route, I think the 319 is a good starting point. You can do a lot with the baby bus. It's fast. You can go far. You can descend fast. Pretty easy to land. All right, so there's our 3,000.
Delta 357, the wind 180 at 7, runway 12 left, clear to land.
12 left, clear to land, Delta 357. All right, we're clear to bounce on 12 left. Lights are on, and we're just going to continue to slow it up here. I'm not gonna do my 2,000 foot configuration because I'm not 100% sure how this airplane handles that. So we're probably going to configure here a little bit early. As soon as I hit the glide slope intercept here at 3,000, I'm going to start the configuration process. So hopefully I don't offend you guys here. There's our glide slope star. Manage speed. Let's go ahead and lower landing gear. Gear down. VFNX -10, flaps 3. I really like these flap sounds, so we're going to do it from back here. I like that. Glide slope captured. Go around altitude is 3,000 set. VFE next -10 will extend flaps full.
For the ILS for 12 left, Delta 1366.
That's pretty juice right there with that flap sound. All right, gear down. Spoilers are armed. Cabin crew advised. Auto thrust is speed mode. ACAM ammo. We're landing on green. Landing checklist complete. We're going to stick here on this ILS for a minute. That's pretty cool. All right, I can barely see the runway down there. Let me pop up this McDo screen. My captain's seat here is set the way I want it.
Delta 598 heavy on the Vormar 1.
Now, I can't disconnect the autopilot with my instinctive disconnect push
Delta
button.
598, you better
So
contact.
I'm going to
Expect the
incorrectly...
ILS and number 4.
I'm incorrectly disconnecting the autopilot because my binding does not work. I don't know if there's a way to fix that. And that master warning should be flashing there. It's not. Look at our gust here. See, 1-3. I even added 5 knots. So this is exactly what I was talking about earlier in stream. We're super light. We're right down there by VLS. I've even added 5 knots, and you can see our speed is bumping around a little bit. If I had an FO on board right now, I'd say bump me up another 3 knots, give me about 138, 139. But I know this airplane likes to float. We're super light. Hopefully we don't trigger an alpha floor here. Wouldn't that be fun? I've only landed this airplane 1 time before this stream, so buckle up those seatbelt, boys. Here we go. I mean, the turbulence is like way overdone right now, though. 1,000 feet stable, clear to land. I do not have auto brakes selected, so I'm just going to go manual brakes on this. Full reverse for cinematic purposes. 2 whites, 2 reds. If you want to know what Cancun Airport looks like on approach, this scenery has got it nailed, man. Landing. Get back on the center line there. A 175? Hell, I'll take it. 70 knots.
Delta 5607 is ready for taxi.
Delta 5607, runway
40 feet, 39 feet above threshold, 3 from center line. Stow the buckets.
What's your right, via Charlie, altimeter 208.
Man,
Correction, 2984.
that countdown threw me off. That 70, 60, 50, 40. I was not anticipating that. That kind of threw me off a little bit. We'll take the exit here. We're looking good. Let's go ahead and clean it up. Clear the runway.
Delta 1366, wind 1807, runway 12 left, clear to land.
Hold on, 12 left, Delta 1366.
Delta 357, welcome Cancun, next via Delta.
In real life, this is all the way completed. All right, taxi to the terminal. Delta 357, thanks. Is that what he said? I didn't hear what he said. We're going to taxi via Delta to the terminal, yeah, Bravo 3. Or Bravo 4, Terminal 3 there. Turn left. So in real life, they got to update the scenery now. Been bragging how nice it is, but this taxiway is... Actually, you know what? I don't know if it's completed all the way yet. I'd have to look. I know it's completed down at the other end. All right, but welcome to Cancun, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take it to the gate, do a replay, see that touchdown. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the rest of the lights here. Beacon nav logo can stay on, taxi light is on. And I need to come up. I can't quite see that switch. APU primed up. Time to hit the beach, Travis. You got it, man. You got it. Fire up the Yahoo over the bridge.
Delta 295, lower for the ILS number 4.
Cleared ILS number 4, 12 left, Delta 295 heading.
Not bad, not bad. Somebody's on the ILS out there. All right, we're going to take the first taxiway here into the gate. We'll park next to this other deltoid. Kill the lights. APU is available. I think I just put my wheel truck in the dirt there. I'm not used to taxiing this wide body here. All right, we're going to take stand, what is this, 42? We'll take stand 42. Dimitri, that sounds amazing, my friend. I got a case of Coronas here for you. Dude, I am ready. I'm actually going to, I think I'm going to have a Corona here after this stream. I feel like we're in Mexican vacation right now. All right. What does that say? A359. It says stop. Oh, nope. Now it says taxi straight ahead, so we'll taxi straight ahead. I don't really know where my centerline reference is in this airplane. I guess it's that line right there. Okay. 12 meters, 10. All right, didn't give me a stop. So want me to go a little bit further? There it is. All right, I was just too smooth. Too smooth, opposite of Southwest. Brakes are set. APU is available. So engine 2 is coming down. Seatbelts. Engine 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cancun. I hope you enjoyed our first wide-body flight in A350. Golden State says, how much braking do you use on the downhill side of that bridge? Not much Golden State, because taxi like you stole it. Oh man, did my generator not online? RIP. There we go. Sorry guys, we went dark. No, in real life, yeah, you need a little bit of brakes to come down there. It's not as severe as it's indicated right there. I guess that's pretty accurate, but it might, I think in real life it's even a little bit flatter. You don't need too much. It's not bad. All right, so that is online. I'm not going to do a shutdown because I'm just going to go straight into replay mode. Is anybody on final? Let's take a quick look. Somebody just touched down. We got another Delta way out there. Good stuff, though. There's a Delta coming in. Airbus. Love it. Love it. I mean, but this scenery is pretty sweet. Look at the Coronas that Dimitri was talking about.
1366, we're cleared of 12 left at Alpha 3.
Delta 1366, taxi via Delta 1 to the terminal.
Now, that's what I'm talking about right there.
Delta 1 to the terminal. Delta
727. Pretty sweet. I like this airport, man. This airplane, this exact airplane is here in real life most of the time. I think it's Magni Air Charters. They're there.
Latest weather for Cancun, wind 180 at 14, altimeter.
Got another Delta taking off. I feel like I'm in Tower Simulator up here. I reached 350 likes. Nice. I didn't even realize it. All right. Let's do the replay. I know you guys are anxious. It's been a long stream. We're going to go ahead and disconnect. And we're going to throw you guys into the old replay mode here. And I'm going to toggle replay, and let's back it up. Let's see how we did here. Let's watch it from here first. E-Boss says, nice stream, Captain. Thank you for your time. Thank you, E-Boss. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I know it was rough there in the beginning. It was rough, but we got it. We overcame our obstacles, and we are, I mean, I'll fly this airplane more. I think if I get a couple more flights under my belt, I think we're going to see it a little bit more on my channel. Ooh, yeah. I'm going to have to see that from the outside view there. Are they clapping? I believe they are. One of Dougal's favorite views here. Let's take a look at this. Definitely didn't float as much as I anticipated there. It was definitely a little bit firm. Nice little winds were coming around. That's a pretty sweet shot right there. Are you serious? Screenshot. That looks juicy. I like that profile, that 350 coming in here. A little bit low over the center line. Yeah. Had a hard time getting that rudder back over. Had a hard time getting her back on center line, but our touchdown was pretty good, if I don't say so myself. Like, we're a little firm, no doubt about it, but we are right. We actually touched down short of where I thought we were going to touch down. I think I might have been overcompensating for the float, so I kind of anticipated more of a float. Heck, not a terrible landing, though. Not a terrible landing for the second landing ever in this airplane. It must be European clapping all, says Dimitri. Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, there it is. There's your A350 flight on the V1 channel. I hope I didn't offend anybody too bad when I give my opinions on the airplane. I'm not trying to be offensive. Just kind of give you my honest thoughts. I do think it's a fun airplane to fly. I do anticipate flying it more here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this wide-body stream. Wasn't really a long haul. But all the mods, sponsors, thank you. New members for joining the channel, being part of the community, thank you so much. All the donations, I appreciate you guys. Everyone else hanging out in chat, I love you guys just as much. Do me a favor, hit the like button for me on the way out here. Helps the video get out there, helps the channel with YouTube algorithms and all that good stuff. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Until next time, guys, it's probably going to be a couple days. I'm going to be flying the real bus here for the next 4 days. Next 4 days, man, I'm out of here. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. See ya!